Holy moly!
Oh my god, is
Hello.
this D&D?
No.
No, this is Patrick.
This is.
No,
Fuck.
this is Pathfinder
Dramonia.
2.
Yes, this is Dog.
Leedle, leedle, leedle.
Leedle, leedle, leedle. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing?
No, how are you?
Oh,
Aussie.
I'm
yeah.
all right. I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm fine.
Good,
We're back
good.
for more
Good.
Dungeons
No.
and or Dragons.
Yes,
not both.
we are.
You have to pick
Not
one.
both.
No, just
No.
yeah. So it's Dungeons or Dragons now.
Why?
Just
Why is it always Dungeons
Budget
and or
cut.
Dragons? Why can't it be Dragons and or Dungeons?
It's a good question.
I mean, wow.
I feel like
keep
I
your face
honestly
first,
feel
It
in
says
most
dragon
most
penis.
games, yeah, most games I've played or DM'd, there is actually more dungeons than there are dragons.
But hear me out.
That's
We could
true.
explore the dragons and beat up the dungeons.
I mean, you could.
That sounds like a.
That sounds like a Magic School Bus episode.
Yeah.
Does sound like a
Yeah.
Magic School Bus.
Or a
I-
porno.
All right, we've had a good
Josie,
run.
Josie,
I'm
I
gonna
would,
go.
I
Bye.
humbly request that you create a sentient dungeon that rises up from the ground mecha style, and we must
Humbly
fight
request
it.
You do not.
Kind of like that house enemy in Final Fantasy VII. You fight the giant robot house. Anyone?
Yeah,
Stuck
there,
dungeon,
there
I'm
is
stuck.
there is a Dungeons and Dragons meme. There is a Dungeons and Dragons meme saying, where there's like, oh, and you see a warehouse. Oh my God, is it a house?
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, yeah.
It is now. Or sometimes D&D players just don't know. There's a similar meme out there where it's like, oh, the DM describes how the group comes upon the horrible gazebo, and they're like, oh my God, what languages does it speak? And they're like, they don't realize, they don't connect gazebo. They think it's just a homebrewed monster.
Yeah.
No, it's a
But
literal
actually
gazebo.
it's just a gazebo.
But anyway, you'll get none of that here because we're a super serious campaign. 100%.
I mean, I try. You're the one. No, I'm kidding. Look. I feel like I
Mostly
lost.
serious.
Mostly serious. I lost the privilege of calling it serious when I invented the Punishment Panthers and Atornar.
Yeah,
Also, probably when you ran into Soot Gotham.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like in
That
the
was-
first. That was like 13 episodes in,
Was it?
right?
No.
Because we were like the first
That
12. You
was
were like,
like-
yeah, this
I
might
think it
be
was later
serious,
than
and then you were
that.
like, immediately, this is not.
No, because Soot Gotham was all after you had reached Green Harbor the first time on the way to Evansfire.
Right,
Yeah.
that's right.
But you did run into the alchemist goblin that Orb
Yes.
got
Offended.
into, I believe. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we ran into the Punishment Panther just outside of Bora,
Yeah, just
right?
outside of
Yeah, no,
Bora
that came
after you have
first.
been chased by Yetis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like one of the earliest events that we just kind of took like and ran with it on the silly scale. It might have been Green. Was
Yes.
it Green? I think it was Green.
That
was pretty
not
early
my
on.
fault. That was not me.
Honestly,
You burned the food.
that,
So defensive, Cuddly.
Yeah, I feel.
honestly, the green situation was Orb's fault because he's the one who wanted to talk to the animals.
Yeah. This is before I even shot my bow at all.
Oh my
Yeah,
God!
that's right,
Just
actually.
before
Yes.
or after he tried to kill something with a flaming torch.
It is green. Oh my God!
It's adorable.
Oh.
Wait, is
It
that
is
the same one I
green.
linked on? I put on Twitter.
It's the different color, but the same.
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God!
I
There
don't
is-
think I've
there-
ever actually shown anyone. It's my child.
That's pretty cute.
I will say on an adjacent note, there is they do have in Pathfinder in the Pathfinder system, they do have like an official monster known as the woolly rhinoceros. So I feel like that's on the same vibe.
I ended up going against one once. It was not fun.
That one's name is Orange.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
But the woolly triceratops, they are green.
They are green. Yeah, it's different secondary colors. Like we could
Yeah.
find a
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they are the color green. It's what they are. They just are green. Not as in describing what they look like. It is their inherent being is green.
I feel that. What would your color name be?
What? What would you...
Is this like some sort of like fucking quiz?
like It's like a BuzzFeed quiz.
It's a BuzzFeed
Yeah, I'm
quiz. Yeah.
What chakra are you?
Oh no. Hang on. I feel like if this discussion continues, I need to do a little bit of this. And we need to,
Oh my god, there's green.
Oh.
We can
Green.
go green.
Can
Oh
we
shit,
make
but we
Grey go
ran out
green?
of time.
That's
No,
the end of the
we've
time.
run out of- That's
for
the end of the
bullshit.
time, folks.
Yep.
It's been great having you all here.
What? What?
What?
Guda, you've been great. Thank you.
Oh.
You've been the best.
Oh.
Everyone else, I have some notes.
Oh.
I gotta go. Sorry.
Are these notes a recap to lead us into this?
I
into
think
this game?
Josie, you'll take that back. That I was the best because you all missed when I did a D's nuts jokes.
I am so proud of you.
Look, I
Snuck it
feel
in.
like I'm not really allowed to judge these nuts jokes after the time I actually put my title as Dungeon These Nuts.
Yeah, you lost a
No,
lot
it was
of
my live. It was my
privileges.
live
Yeah.
message.
Ah.
Like, it was
Okay,
live
maybe
message.
that's why I'm the. Maybe it's the D's nuts.
Can't believe you didn't go Dungeon and Dragon. Anyway.
Dungeon and
Well,
Dragon.
it was the
these
dragon.
nuts.
It was the dragon
And
nuts that
dragging
I
these
did.
nuts to your dungeon.
Ah!
Because you guys
Love
were
that.
asking why it's
Amazing.
dungeon and or dragons and not dragons and or dungeons, and I said because it's dragon these nuts.
Oh, but
I'm mad that
Speaking
I
of dragging along, we're a minute overtime.
dragging along.
True. Let's
Yeah.
go.
oh my god,
Let's go get the party. I mean, find Aussie's people.
Yeah? What was that? Dude?
Find my people.
Huh?
I thought you were my people.
No, there's McGee.
Oh!
You're a
No,
Oh,
George is your
Yeah,
son, not your.
no, Rudy pulls a my people needs me, and he just does the SpongeBob things where he lays down in a hole and pulls dirt over himself.
That's really all he has to do.
I must go. My people need me.
Then you
Just
then you
like
di-
buries down in the dirt.
you immediately dig in the spot and then he's gone. Where did he go? You don't know.
You don't know, but then
Terrifying.
he's in your ear. Anyway, last week on Dramonia, after some last-minute preparations, the Vanguard of the Black transports via plans to the park at the center of the Ivory Hold. Though what they find is not the city that Nan and Rudy remembers. Instead, a dense mist looms about, and music can be heard playing in the air. Atornar, the Archfey of Humility, has intercepted their means of travel and wants to remind the group to keep in mind the ripples that can form when treading on toes of more powerful beings. The group then finds themselves in the actual park, and as they head towards the McGee estate, Rudy points out some sights and events. Spotting a sign being put up on a billboard, they get context for the preparations of the royal festival, the white and golden banners being hung all over the city. The Owl, Dylan Florian, is holding a celebration of his force's successful campaign in fending off the threat that was harrying the Eastern Lush.
Oh,
We then get thrown into Dramonia ER, episode 6, as Rudy tends to his mother and has a few honest moments with his estranged father. Openly, Rudy asks his matron deity which path she would prefer, saving his mother for selfish reasons, or letting the sickness run its natural course. The Pallid Princess shows ambiguity, and that both choices would uphold her tenets. Rudy frees Annalie McGee from the deceased, but tells his father that this does not mean that she is safe. Without waiting for much of a response, they leave the sobbing man and the howls behind and heads into the city streets. They walk and talk, discussing how to meet the awe, and feeling like they have much too urgent business to wait to tomorrow and take the chances of winning a dinner with the king in the tournament. Rudy instead leads the vanguard to the gates of the Ivory Castle, where the fire giant guardians Olivar and Freckles mention that there are several ways to get an audience if you know what strings to pull. But a letter from the Queen of Ebonspire is not one such way. The choices ahead are either to seek out Rudy's old mentor, win a tournament of combat and honor, or as Rudy suggests, talk to his long-estranged sister, Felicia. And that's where we come back into as the party who...
I got you. Don't you worry, I got you.
What happened? What is this?
The dice tray wrote you.
Oh,
I just needed to illustrate your point.
Oh
but
my
I wanted to
god.
wait till after you were done.
Oh
with
my
the-
god. Hang on, I gotta keep it up so chat can see it moving. There we go. Now I can't see chat.
But yes, standing in front of the castle, just by the gates, the Nobles District isn't too far away from you currently standing. And it wouldn't be that much of a detour to go that way, if that is what you wish to do. But the party, the city is yours.
Those bells! Sorry, I just...
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
city bells.
It's
City
I mean,
bells.
it's the afternoon bells of the cathedral in Ivory. What do you mean?
Look, they just bring back, just awkward times. You know, this would signify the afternoon shower, and like you all had to shower together. It was just awkward. I don't like the afternoon bells. Anyway, about getting into the castle.
Oh.
Just gonna skip past shower trauma there.
Look, this whole city just brings out a lot of memories, right? When you spend a good amount of time here, or a large amount of time here, you tend to pick up some bad memories, all right? I would like to get this over and done with as soon as possible, and I don't want to wait another day to see some lofty king that thinks he's too good to help save the world, all right?
Are you quite done?
Why don't we go into this tournament to go see
That's
the thing?
because it's tomorrow.
And also, why would we risk hurting ourselves for no reason when we can see the king
Oh,
another
look, I'm
way?
feeling a little rusty. I haven't fought anything in a little bit, so...
Because you've been
You
a scaredy
did.
cat.
You did find out that they do stop the fights if it gets like too rough. If
Look.
the challengers get too injured.
Look, I've been doing paperwork for so long, I feel like I need to stretch my arms and be a bit silly, I guess.
I think
Well,
Arthur could
You
win it.
stopped being silly?
That's news to me. You're right, George. I do believe Arthur would have a good shot winning the tournament. And look, if Sorry, what was
Yeah.
that?
I was gonna just say, if he gets hurt, just heal him. If he dies,
Yeah.
just res him.
Exactly. I mean,
Well, that's very expensive, though, George.
I'll find more diamonds. There's a bougie area.
yes, but not where we're going. You won't, because I will not have more family trouble than what I'm already signing us up for.
Only trouble if you get caught.
Oh, you've signed
No,
us up
You've
for
been
trouble.
caught several times already, George, including by us.
And we're
I
idiots.
was being sloppy.
Anyway, Arthur, you can have your little tournament tomorrow. What, are you just going to sit here and pout all day because the tournament's not today?
No, I was gonna go have a bit of a feed, go sightsee, just enjoy
So-
the...
So you don't want to do anything towards our extremely important goals today? You'd rather just wait 24 hours?
Look, when you've been into a city that you don't know, we're gonna do what we need tomorrow. So
I can't.
Well,
with him.
I, for one, am not going to pass up the chance to meet more family members.
Yes, well, if having a chat with your sister is going to be the best path forward, then so be it. That's what we're here for.
look, there's a chance that the Surrogard family can get us in to see this king today, and then look, maybe they can't, and then we have to enter this bloody tournament tomorrow anyway.
Are you gonna enter it, Rudy?
I don't know. I'm going to.
Is it just like a? Do you know anything about it? Is it just a solo? Like, is it a duel? Is it just a 1v1 kind of a
We
thing?
did talk to someone last week.
Yeah.
Would we have
Yeah.
found out?
I mean,
Yeah.
Would I
You-
do? Yeah.
Like, you know that during these events, they usually have their own rules per event, but then there are the smaller fighting rings are just essentially brawls. Like, just regular brawls, but the big arena battles, they change. Like that, it depends completely on the event.
Yep.
Okay.
Right, so I'm going to go and see if I can get us an audience with the king early. And it seems like Arthur's going to go and just piss away the day.
No. Just take a breath, Rudy. It's fine. We can reconvene. We can do both.
Sorry,
Rudy doesn't need to breathe.
I'm
That's why I'm telling him to take a breath.
just a little
You keep
wound
forgetting.
up. All right, I'm just a little wound up after today, and being here, I just want to get this done.
I really do understand, Rudy. Truly.
Looking around, are there snacks anywhere? Food vendors?
Well, you're not currently in the bazaar.
Damn.
So around here, no, not really. You can smell some form of food coming from, and you can see a bit further down in the park, there seems to be a cafe.
Oh. And Nana just goes, "Why don't we all take a break? It's been a very stressful morning. And you know, Rudy, your favorite thing."
I
My
am
treat.
hungry. I am hungry. This is true.
All right. Well, let's follow Nana's lead then. Let's take a quick sit down, and you can explain to us where we need to go and who we need to talk to in regards to your sister getting us in to see the king, I suppose.
Fine. All right. You convinced me.
Fed him.
To the park, to the cafe.
To the
How much-
cafe!
Yes, Nana would just like to buy like a little snack and maybe a drink for everyone who wants one, which I'm
Yeah.
guessing is just everyone. How much would that cost me?
I feel like you're the mom at Disneyland.
I am.
For 6 copper per person, you get what looks like you get a small bag of bite-sized beignets and some sparkling but non-flavored water.
Nice.
It is naturally carbonated water from a spring, a local mountain spring.
Ooh, interesting.
And
Fun.
just like these little tiny beignets.
When the server puts them down, Rudy sort of like, sort of indicates, goes, "Oh, we'll need another one of these, please." And Rudy takes that whole basket.
Well,
Okay. Well, and then another, however many. I'm just gonna say 15 because that's about half. Does that sound about right? Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So
My children are running me dry.
I'm just dealing with emotional times, all right? Eating helps.
Please don't talk with your mouth full, Rudy. It's hard enough to see that. Yeah. So, whereabouts does your sister live then? And can we just go in and see her? Is she like someone of note these days, or?
Rudy just sort of stares at Gerald while he continues chewing, because he's asked him specifically to
Just
not talk. with
doing
his
it
mouth.
doing it like a cow because he's got no lips. Just...
And like when you think he's about to be done, he like shoves another one.
every now and then you have to like poke it back in.
Look, we can talk about the intricacies of Rudy eating.
So, I think the best thing would be Rudy drinking, because he would just like.
I got no lips to hold it in.
Yeah,
You'd have
he
to-
has to use gravity to swallow.
Just he carries a straw around with him.
How
I
would you
mean-
use a straw though?
No,
I
he
mean,
just
I guess
yeah,
bites
no,
on it. He bites on it.
He can't create any suction though.
you can't make a seal.
Right. Okay, if someone tier 3 subs to me right now, I will do a
Wow.
TikTok of Rudy trying to eat and drink. Okay, there you go. Anyway, I don't know if I'm kidding, by the way.
I don't know if I'm kidding.
It was the same when I said you'd be able to kill an NPC and then 3 people did it.
Look, I'm not saying. No, anyway,
Yeah, so you're sitting in the
Yeah.
park, you're having your little snacks and drinks. You know that if you reference your own map, AussieDevFro,
Mm.
there is a particularly big estate just off on like a little bit of a private island situation.
yes.
In the
Ah,
Noble
well.
District. What? Did
Guess
you
we're getting that
do?
TikTok then.
Oh shit!
Thank you,
Yes.
Turbs. Turbs, that is beautiful. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate that.
Oh my god!
Wait,
Wait, Terms.
Terms. Yep.
Because Terms is one of the
Yeah,
people who did
you're
it to
one of-
kill it.
Thank you, Terms.
What a joker!
Terms.
That's very kind of you. Thank you. I will do it, and I will make sure
That's
everyone is
brilliant.
alerted. Absolutely.
That's brilliant.
I will eat and drink several things as Rudy, Magic Hands McGee. Maybe I'll get my. Oh, okay. Ideas.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well-
yes.
Yes.
So Noble. So it was in the Nobles district. There's like a little island. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know
that's
that
the
that
Surigard.
is the Surigard estate.
Yeah, the Surigard. Right. Right. Well. By the way, Rudy doesn't start talking until like half the basket's done. Right. Well, essentially,
It's
we.
like Gerald's like, what? The conversation had had a good 5-minute break this time. And Gerald just assumed that the answer was never coming. So, what were we talking about?
About where the Surigard estate was. That's what you wanted, right?
Oh God, that was ages ago. You just go on then.
Well, there's the Nobles district, right? And then a little bit. It's kind of difficult to explain. It's like they're segmented away from everyone else because they've got their own little island, so to speak. You'll understand when you see it, but there's the Nobles estate, and then there's the Surigard estate. It's sort of
Right.
separate.
And can we just go in there?
DM, can we just go in there?
You can get to the bridge, but there's a gate.
Right. Well, I mean, we could absolutely get up to the gate. I'm sure. That polymorph might come in handy, actually. I'm sure if we alert them that it's me, we might be able to get maybe through the front door, but I can't really guarantee more than that. I mean, likewise with my parents. My sister and I haven't really spoken in a long time. Although, I must admit, I don't despise my sister like my parents, so it might be okay. I'm
He
not
might
entirely
despise
sure.
you for leaving.
Maybe, but
Why don't we
Look.
just sneak in?
no! Why do we have to do overly complicated things when we can just talk?
feel
You-
like
you also-
breaking
you
and
also
entering
think-
would not be the
Yes.
greatest impression.
I will say that breaking and entering would not be a great idea because Rudy would know that this family is literally responsible for, like, the military.
Yes,
Like-
also,
What I got the information on too, right?
yes, yeah. This
It
is
makes
why
me
I
wanna do it
snapped it.
more, to be honest. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel like George could do it.
This is why I snapped at George earlier, because you don't want to muck with this family. They are literally in charge of the military of this entire city.
What if they adopt us?
I'm technically already connected to the family, and you need more connections. What are
Oh,
you?
then I am
Why?
too.
Why
I'm
are we?
Everybody's just like, why are you like this?
I'm just waiting for Rudy to say I raised you better.
No, that's the problem, mysterious voice in the sky. I didn't raise George at all.
You know, that was Arthur's job.
It was
You
Arthur's
were-
job.
What do you
You were
mean?
the working mom.
Yeah, Arthur would be the stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
Arthur would love to be a stay-at-home
Well,
dad.
Ozzy is the stepmother, remember?
Oh,
Am I the evil stepmother?
You are
Yeah,
now.
I know. Ergot so much. Like,
Permission
of
to
course
have
you
the
are.
beehive hairdo.
You could probably do that with your fro too.
Next time I
Mm.
polymorph you, I'll give you that.
Might
But
be
yes,
sooner than you think.
I think what we need to do is we will need to do that on the note of the polymorph, George. We will need to polymorph. I feel like turning
Polymorph?
up
Oh, you right?
me
Because
yes.
of all of
Yes.
all of that.
I feel like I didn't change for dealing with my parents because I've look, I have a you may not have noticed, but I have a little penchant for being a little dramatic. So I figured
Oh
you
no,
know,
we would
Wow,
never notice something
really?
like that. George, was I convincing?
no, you weren't, Nana.
Oh.
I think I kind of threw it off because of my sarcasm and Gerald's face in the back.
I'm just
We'll work on
practicing,
it, Nana.
Rudy. It might come in handy later.
I
Nana,
felt
I'll
like
give
a
you some speed
surprised
courses,
electric
it'll be
rat
great.
there for a second.
Anyway,
Nana, if you learn to lie, we could lie together and we'll be unstoppable. Because who wouldn't believe a sweet old lady?
I'm going to
That's how we
finish
do
my
it with most
basket,
Things.
and then I'm going to leave. And if anyone wants to come with me, can come with me.
I think we're
Yes,
all
yes.
coming with you, Rudy. She kind of
Well,
looks around like, aren't we all going? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Shall we go?
Sure, I
You're
can do my
heading-
errands later.
so you're heading into the nobles district.
Mhm.
If I understood this correctly.
Yes.
Are you leading them towards like beelining it towards the Shurgard estate?
Yeah, beelining. Rudy, it's essentially, whenever Rudy is leading the party anyway, he is beelining. There's no distraction unless the party is trying to drag him in another
Oh,
direction.
we always are. But anyway, we'll try our
Yes.
best.
Give me just a sec. Trying to get some things ready.
Just to chat. There was a question there. Yes, Rudy is now what's called a reborn. He is reborn. A reborn. I'm not entirely sure how to sort of how to say it, but yeah, he's not human anymore. If that helps.
You know, like those skeletons that you can see at Halloween? Add like a little bit of like flesh hanging off and some clothes, and that's currently Rudy.
But like the
With
flesh
eyeballs.
is intact though. Like it's not like torn bits of flesh. It's like like
I don't
the
know, you still
thinnest-
got a hole in your stomach.
Yeah, but that's cosmetic.
And a ton of maggots crawling around.
It's like it's
No!
just
Baby
flesh wound.
worms?
No maggots. I'm
What
sorry.
kind of worms? Uh-oh. Why is there... Josie, we're just going for a family
We're just,
reunion.
we're
Why
just
is there
going for a
only-
chat, right? Yeah, yeah.
Josie,
Barometers.
his sister
Whoa!
loves him, right?
it got worse.
His sister's fine with us, right?
The entire city's haunted.
Wait,
Get into disguise real quick.
are they all reborn? Wait, what?
Oh my god, no wonder Rudy ghosted. I'm so sorry.
Jose looks done with us right now.
Oh dear. This is actually the boss music for Josie.
You can take that.
Y'all done?
Yep.
Never.
Doesn't take long after entering the nobles district. It's quiet here. The murmur of the city fades, becomes background noise that goes quieter and quieter. You still see people walking the streets, but they do so with purpose, without conversation. They are busy. You're still mid-afternoon. The sun is starting to disappear as it's setting. It is crawling down behind the mountains that surround the oh god, please. The Stillcroft Lake in which the Ivory Hold sits. And as the sun disappears, the sky do not become red, orange, pink, purple of the sunset. Instead, the sky is still blue, but the city is quickly cast in shadow. These creeping, long peaks of shadows from the mountains envelop the city. You see lampposts, magical, start almost as the shadows cover them, they just light up. People are looking at you. All walking by, almost like they almost scrounge their noses, like you smell. They turn their eyes away. There's a definitive vibe that you don't belong here. You are less than. You have nothing to do here. As you keep through, heading past buildings, large gated estates. Some have fences made of stone, some are wrought iron, some are bushes. All the houses are pristine, made out of this almost marble-like stone. And as further in you go, for every house you pass, it feels like the next one is trying to one-up the previous one. They grow slightly more grand, luxurious, expensive, ostentatious even. You come to a small opening where several houses face inwards, and there's a large open area with a fountain in the middle. The fountain, beautiful, showcasing a man who's just standing, his arms open, like inviting for an embrace or boasting a success. And all around you see these small carved dragons. They are gilded. And they are breathing water out. And there seems to be some form of magical effect that makes the water seem like a vibrant yellow orange, shimmers of gold. You pass, and ahead you see the shoreline coming towards you. There's a large brass gate, just sitting on the shoreline almost. And there is a massive marble bridge that leads to a smaller island just off. The bridge is maybe 30 feet across. There's a little bit of a hill. You can see a few small shed-like buildings on this island. And the only house that isn't really gated, except for the path onto the bridge. This building itself does not strike you in the same form of luxury. They aren't necessarily trying to outdo others with the grandiosity of wealth. But it is the largest house of all of these. But it doesn't carry the same vibrance. It doesn't carry the same eye-catching decor. Instead, everything is just immaculate. By the gate, you see two guards, two sentinelas of the city. But beyond the city's own emblem, they carry the emblem of the Sureguard family. A shield with a fist. You can see people on the island itself. Can see gardeners tending to shrubberies, to patches of flowers. You can see other guards. You can even see what looks like a few trainees of some sort, practicing, sparring, and hitting dummies. You come up to the gate.
Before we got closer to the gate, would there have been... I suppose these houses are quite far apart. Would there have been a quiet corner somewhere that Rudy would have been able to request that George attempts to polymorph him? Like, would there have been a space to do so, or at all?
Maybe. Make a perception check.
Since
If
he's
not-
asking me, would I be able to help him with that?
Sure, one of you can roll with advantage, or you can roll individually.
I will let George roll with advantage. I think.
Wait, why?
Wait, Rudy is a +10, so maybe...
Really? Oh, not a first plus 13?
Oh, yeah, you can have it. Yeah, go for it.
27 and 30.
Damn.
27 and 30.
I think just made it.
Yeah.
You don't see anything that
Really?
strikes you as an alley. Doesn't really exist here. But you find a spot in between two of these estates that have solid walls where you feel like you can at least minimize the amount of eyes that could potentially see you. And if you're fast enough with a spell, yeah, you're pretty sure that no one would realize.
Okay.
And considering how much clothing that Rudy usually wears, the full coverage, who's to say that's just not what he looks like underneath it? There's... Yeah, so you could definitely pull this off without any particular issue.
The other question is, and this is more of a mechanical question, or is there any way George can, like, if Rudy sort of, I don't know, because what I would want is to be polymorphed into what Rudy looked like previously.
Which I've
So-
done before.
So you have done that.
Remember
You
when
were-
we were in the sandy area
With
Ur Dragon?
the
Ur
Ur
Dragon.
Dragon.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
that
so
was
you-
before you became
Mhm.
reborn.
Yeah, yeah. That
That
was.
was... Yeah, that was just
Hmm.
using it to change how you look,
Hmm.
mostly.
Well, that's all okay, but it was an illusion of.
No,
Rudy.
it was not an
No.
illusion. It
Oh,
was a
full
polymorph.
transformation. Oh, right, that's right. Okay. Okay. We don't have access to any illusion magic. Instead, it's
My
Nothing.
illusion
now.
magic is too small for that. I asked
Yeah.
Josie last
Yeah,
week.
that's right. I
Yeah.
remember this now. Okay.
Nothing
Look,
large enough.
You know what? I think we're just gonna have to let it ride. I think it's not gonna be
I mean,
feasible.
I can polymorph you. It just will only last an hour.
Yeah. And then Rudy will lose the abilities that he has access to. No, it's okay. Sorry, sorry for bringing it up again. I was just thinking.
No, it's a good
Hmm.
question.
I will
Um,
double check real quick before we move on, because it'll just
Most
be
most
quick check.
illusions that lets you affect other people are higher level.
Yeah. The only thing that I really have is alter self, but that's for myself. So
That's for yourself. Yeah, I'd say for this you'd need either silent image or major illusion.
I will
Or
have silent
major
image
image,
next
I
level, I believe.
Yeah.
So we
'Cause
just need to
silent-
level up, guys.
Silent image, you'd be able to just make his face look normal, like his head, localized to his head, essentially.
That would probably be more than enough. But
Yeah,
next
but-
level.
yeah.
All right. You know what? We'll just let it ride. It's fine. I mean, these are the consequences of my actions, so I suppose I shouldn't try to hide it. Well, should try to hide it, but not. You know what I mean.
I mean, if you want to go in with polymorph so you don't scare them and you can give them a warning, let me know. And
Well, I mean, you can only really see my eyes, so should be alright.
As you're discussing this, standing between buildings, Arthur, you see a group of people heading in the ish direction that you are. And you swear one of them looks incredibly like Rudy did before he started decaying. Walking, you see two women with a pushchair.
Oh.
You see a woman keeping herself rigid back. She's wearing definitely high elegance clothing. She has dark curly hair, and having met Rudy's father, you recognize the resemblance immediately. She's a bit shorter than Rudy, but she has the same... She's a very similar face. It's uncanny almost. And next to her, you see a woman with a palish pink complexion and short hair, very, very short, just as like a little bob that goes just to the chin. And you can see what looks like two horns that come just above the ears up, and they split in twos. And you also see that she's wearing simple but well-kept clothing. And she's pushing a little stroller as they're heading towards the direction that Rudy pointed out earlier.
Okay. Arthur sort of points it all out to Rudy, like, do you know that person? Do you know that one? Do you know that one? Is that your sister? Is that the one?
Oh, Arthur, I'm sure not every... I'm not... look, the odds of us running into the exact person we're looking for in this entire city are borderline minuscule, if not... Is it... Does Rudy recognize... Yeah.
It's uncanny. She looks very similar to how your mom looked when you were younger.
Oh, I hate it when he's right.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we are in the area where they live, so the likelihood increases drastically over here.
That's okay. Well, this is not okay. I guarantee you, if we approach them right now, there'd be guards on us in seconds.
Well, just go, Rudy. We're here to see them, and easier out here than in there, presumably.
Oh dear. All right. Well, no time like the present, I suppose. And Rudy would probably, kind of walk out from the from wherever they are and sort of onto the street proper, so that he's a bit more visible. And
He's still fully covered up.
Yeah, fully covered up to the eyes. And he would, was there between Rudy and his sister, was there a nickname that she would have had growing up?
Well, she was the one who called you Rudy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you would call her Felly.
Okay, so Rudy would get within earshot and go, I know it's been a while, Felly, but I'm back in town. It's Rudy.
At first,
Oh, well?
she doesn't seem to react. Arthur and George, the two of you would be the ones to clock that she flinches for half a step before she simply continues walking. Whereas the tiefling walking next to her looks over towards you, Rudy, and says something to your sister. But she keeps walking.
I apologize for the suddenness, but I've returned. I apologize for the suddenness of my return, but I have returned for a very important reason, and I urgently wish to speak with you.
She stops. She turns around. She looks at you. Approximately where your eyes would be. You're still a bit distance away. And she takes a moment. She just breathes in. Fine. What do you want?
So just like that, you believe me straight away.
I don't care. What do you want? How can I make you leave?
You can make me leave by hearing me out. I need to see the ore. It's a matter of incredible importance.
So after all these years, you come back when it's convenient. If, say, you really are Junior.
Rudy reaches down into his clothing, pulls out his pig figurine, and casts its first ability, which is the ability that allows it to sort of, it bestows life upon the object. And he goes, well, if nothing else, I can 100% confirm who I am. And he sort of sets it down, and it sort of trots off over to her. Because she would know that figurine.
Yeah. She looks down at it. You can see she's steeling herself. She's really trying to remain composed. I don't know what you want. I haven't seen you in, what? Near 2 decades? 15 years? And you just come here in the middle of the street and say that you need my help to go see the king?
Well, we were on our way to the Shoreguard estate, but, I mean, we saw you walking here, and like, well, this is as good a time as any, I suppose, for awkward family reunions. It's not like I need any more of those today.
Arthur sort of steps in at this point, goes, talking about awkward, hello,
Arthur,
Arthur.
Arthur, get away!
I could see there's some tense.
Go away!
Maybe we could try and
Oh
help
my
this as a
gosh.
party,
Arthur,
friend.
please, I...
Who is this?
Look,
And, like,
Please, oh,
everyone
no,
else is just
no.
kind
Oh, no.
I feel like we sort of just look next to us and there's this blank space where Arthur should have been.
yeah, we're like, oh.
I'm sorry, this is the group of adventurers. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Vanguard of the Black, but...
I can't say I have.
No, of course you haven't. I think the ore has seen to that. Anyway.
I was going to interrupt. I'm sorry, Rudy.
Don't-
But I know this is a family problem that you have at the moment.
Will hurt you.
But it's actually an importance to the group and to the guilds. I know you might not care for them, but maybe not for family. Could you do it for the goodness of your heart?
And she gives you her look, Rudy, like, is this guy for real?
Yes!
Real quick, Josie.
Yeah?
Can I make message sound like a different person when I talk?
Does message say that they know who is sending the message?
Pretty sure it does.
I read it and it does not. It says only the person that only the target can hear it and reply.
Oh.
Okay.
Does
Then
not say that they know who it is.
Then it comes down to, if you want to make it sound like someone in particular, that's going to be a deception check.
I want to try and mimic her voice in the message to make it sound like her conscience.
Oh my
So you're sending her the message. Okay.
We're gonna go to
Okay, yeah, make I'm gonna say make a deception check with disadvantage.
So as that's happening, Arthur's obviously
one's a
got the
33.
look though. Saw
Yeah, the
look
first one's a
between the
natural
two.
20.
And the second one's a 31.
Oh my lord.
Oh my god.
It's worked.
Why can't we do
What
anything?
are you whispering to her?
I want to make it sound as much like a conscience as possible. Like, maybe I should help him. I haven't, and if I help him, it'll get rid of him, and I won't have to see him ever again.
It would still sound so weird though. Like,
That's so
Yeah,
it's
funny.
not a
she-
voice in your own head. It's
Don't- To everyone else, it just looks like she suddenly does a quick like head shake. Like, sure, you make it sound like her, but she's not necessarily buying it, and she's
Oh.
like,
Look, I'm sorry. I am dreadfully sorry. This is not how I wanted anything to go. Look, this day has just been terrible. This day has been awful. You know, with the letter from father and then saving mother, and and then these people don't make anything easy.
He's under a lot of stress.
she, as you mentioned your mother, she does flinch. Is mother all right?
Oh, well, she's not dead anymore. Like, dying, which is the main thing, I suppose, but just.
Arthur's now stepping back as he's like talking mother shit. Fuck that, I'm back. And
No,
he's like
so-
just
Now you step out. Now you don't think it's your time to interrupt. I'm sorry.
So you're still saving
Fairly-
people.
I'm trying to, anyway. And yes, believe it or not, coming to chat with you is actually on that path as well.
Why? How?
Oh, there's a lot to chat about if you don't mind taking some time. I promise these fools are actually good people.
She sees in the
Oh,
background
he
Joe-
didn't just call me a
Joe
fool,
Bob-
I can tell you that much.
Arthur on the head with his staff. What are you doing?
look. They seem like it's
She-
a tense moment. I'm just trying to make it calmer,
That's why you
alright?
stay out of it.
Are-
Now, shush.
Rudy, are you going to introduce us, or are we just going to stand here all awkward?
Look, to be honest, I was starting to get used to the standing and the awkwardness, but we have here Nana Melavora.
Oh, that's me. Hello.
We have Gerald the Wizard.
Who? What? Sort of physically joins the conversation. Hello. Pleased to meet you.
We have George.
And at this point, Arthur's pushed himself right to the back of the group now. Like he's purposely like, I fucked up.
I'm assuming George is visible somewhere.
As long as I'm not in the darkness, yes.
And
That's ominous.
and this buffoon is Arthur Alblet III, leader of the Midnight Suns.
Hello,
Well,
and I'm sorry.
wait. Okay, let me just see if I got this right. You now represent a group calling themselves the Vanity of the Black?
Very
We-
close. Very close. It was a good try.
what? The Vanguard of the Black. We are representatives of the Queen of Ebonspire.
Ebonspire? When did you go to Ebonspire?
A while ago.
Nana pulls out a scroll and hands it to Rudy in case he wants it.
Okay, well, the Midnight Suns, I know of those. Yes, the volunteer army of the
Yes.
West Shard, and you're saying that he is
Part of the
Leader.
long story.
oh,
Acting leader, don't worry.
If it
It's
makes you
not
feel better,
acting
Nana
anymore.
is the vice leader and it keeps things calm.
As you can
Please
see,
don't bring
Did
me
you say
into
it's not
this.
acting anymore, Arthur?
No, it's been all approved. I am the. Actually, this is not the conversation to have this right now. But yes, I am no longer an acting.
Right.
I'm in charge.
Well, if as introductions go, good afternoon. I am Felicia Surgard, Rudy's sister. Older.
Slightly.
And
twins?
this. Yes, unfortunately.
Believe it or not, Arthur, probably not as recognizable now, but yes.
And this is, and she gestures towards the pale pink, almost like a Japanese peach colored skin tone tiefling. And Felicia gestures, says, "This is Nanny." And the tiefling waves like awkwardly, completely unsure what protocol is right now. And then Felicia leans down into the stroller and picks up the child.
Oh no.
Oh, yes.
No!
Yep.
And says, "And this is Danielle."
Your son.
And no, and says,
Gerald, you made me choke. Please.
Gerald!
I was eating
Roger!
rice, and it all went down the.
"This is why we have author nar people."
I feel like there's an
I
extra
didn't do
big
it, it wasn't me.
punishment.
That was a
That
joke. That was purely Roju.
Roju, you get a 2-minute timeout.
Fair.
Honestly deserved.
Look, that was. I'm gonna be honest. That was.
That one hurt.
As perfect timing as it was, probably not.
Continue. Hey, I don't want to hear about perfect timing from Arthur Orblet III. Okay.
No, this is not about in character. We're penalizing Roju, not Gerald.
Yeah.
Continue.
I don't know if I can. She introduces the child as Danielle, and as your niece, Rudy.
Oh, so you should tell her about your her nephew.
George, not now. Oh,
Congratulations.
that
Thank
took
you.
the words out of my mouth. Right. Well, it seems like you have a long story yourself.
Not particularly.
How old is she?
Coming up on 2.
Well, I mean, I could continue to explain us why we're here and how you can get rid of us on the street here. Or is there anywhere we could sit?
You see coming up towards you, you see one of the guards from the actual gate coming in your direction and says, "Mrs. Surgard, is everything okay? Are these people bothering you?" And she responds doesn't even look at the guard, really, keeping her eyes towards your group. "Yes, they are bothering me, but don't worry about it. It is just an unwanted reunion of sorts. Nothing to worry about." And the guard says, "I'll be within earshot." And starts heading back, but sort of stops, walks slowly, and stops like halfway between.
Well, despite all of gestures vaguely this, we do actually come on a mission of quite some import. If you do have the time, as Rudy said, we would quite appreciate the time to sit down and discuss it properly. But if you do not have the time right now, perhaps we could organize a time later or
Well,
something.
please. What you're asking is not within my power to do anything about. I may have married the firstborn son of the family, but that doesn't give me any authority.
Then can you get us a meeting with your husband?
No, not right now. I think not. But you would want to talk to Parkini. She's still very much the head of the house.
Right. Is that possible at all today? I know it's late in the afternoon, but
I'll see what I can do.
Forgive me, but who is Parkini?
The matriarch of the family.
Ah,
The former first shield of the Ivory Mountains. But yes, fine. Come with me. You'll have to wait outside the gates, though.
that is more than I could have hoped.
She picks up the pig figurine and hands it to Danielle. And just starts walking.
I sort of take a few steps and sort of look back and like, yes?
It's fine, Gerald. It's fine.
Well, off we go.
As she passes by the guard, he follows in step with her and the nanny. And they head towards the gate where the guards open the gates, but with body language and like eyes, they tell you very sternly to wait outside. Like, they don't really say anything, but you can tell from their poise and posture.
Right. Well, that could have gone better and worse. Also, Arthur, if we meet in the arena tomorrow, I am going to kill you.
Arthur just looks down.
Now, Rudy,
And then I will bring you
was
back.
Just trying to.
And then I will
Rudy?
kill you again.
Rudy.
And then I will bring you back.
We don't have that
2
much
diamonds?
funding.
Yeah,
for
you
that.
see the guards just look at you with wild eyes as you say,
Oh, don't be so stuck. I'm joking.
Mostly.
Spoon smack.
Maybe.
Maybe.
all I want to say is I'm sorry. You know me, I don't do it out of silliness or anything. I was generally trying to think I was helping, so again, sorry. I'll learn my place next time.
Now, how am I going to
takes
get back?
about 15-20 minutes before suddenly one of the guards, almost like out of nowhere, looks off into the distance. And then turns around and nods at the other guard, and they start opening the gates. And they just, like, hold the gates open. They don't
Tell what
really
they
say
look at?
anything, but they're holding the gates open and sort of, like, head bobbing.
Oh,
you
all right.
in.
I guess this is us.
Is this where to go in? Are we?
No,
And it just goes in.
Yes.
Just
like,
Just gonna follow
exasperated.
Nana.
I've had to listen to this arguing for like
Mm.
20 minutes now.
The pig figurine, by the way, Josie, I didn't say the instruction, but the instruction was to go and return. As you said, it's
Okay.
simple instructions, yes?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna take it from a baby
Yeah, but now,
later?
right
Oh.
now it's in the grasp of a
Oh, yeah,
child.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
You scoundrel.
That's easy to get.
Like taking candy from a. Wait.
Exactly.
Wait.
like taking the Ergothora energy infused candy from a baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
God, the baby would become so powerful if you didn't take it away.
So
Could you
An immortal
imagine?
baby.
Your place would be taken.
That's why Rudy said we fine, because he assumes the pig will return by of its own volition.
Now Nana tugs on Rudy's sleeve as they're walking and goes, "Now, Rudy, I don't know if you want to take the lead on this one, but I think it would be wise to pay your sister a visit afterwards."
If she does want to see me again, then yes, absolutely.
I have a feeling she might like to catch up.
Yes, and then I suppose she should be informed of recent events.
With your family, you mean?
Yes, the fact
Yes,
that,
yes.
she still has a mother, and, father might be actually trying. Something. I don't know what, but trying.
Was she even aware that your mother was ill?
If she
You
got
know
the
that
letters.
your father said he had tried to
Mm.
reach out but gotten no response.
And father said he sent letters, but no response.
Well, Rudy.
You-
Oh, Nana was just gonna add. Rudy. Second chances are good, and people can change, but Felicia doesn't have to be there to see that.
Exactly. But it would be rude of me to not at least let her know what has transpired.
You pass the marble bridge. You reach a staircase, a stone staircase that leads up to the main building. You see more guard positions on this side of the bridge. You see yet another pair of guards by the main doors. They open the door for you. This large 3-story estate, built almost like nearly like a solid block, with just the addition of what looks like a new built piece to the side. Otherwise, it's like a large 3-story solid block. You can see the people that were sparring. They're still going at it. They seem to change out partners. The gardeners are going at it still. And you can see also what looks like a small, leisurely boat of some kind, like a small sailing boat, parked. You couldn't see it from before, but now that you're heading up the hill that the house is built upon, you can see there's more to it on the other side. The door opens, and you step into a grand greeting room, if anything. Very simple wall sconces burn. You see paintings of various family members of the past along the walls. A gold and white carpet that leads to the door ahead of you. You step inside, and the doors on the other side of this corridor are open, where you see Felicia currently standing next to another woman. She's got a dark red hair. She's wearing it in a thick braid. She stands tall, wide-shouldered. She has a scar on her cheek. Looks like it's old and healed, but it is still visible. She's holding herself with stature. But she doesn't seem to look down on any of you in the metaphorical sense. While she's taller than all of you. She looks at the group and says, "There are 2 conditions to speaking in official matter. 1, you will declare all magical items and weapons upon your person. 2, you have a total of 1 minute to tell me what you want, and I will decide if it is worth hearing. Start."
Is a minute enough to list all our items?
55 seconds.
No, it's a minute to state why we're here.
Oh.
We're here on behalf of both the Midnight Suns. Sorry, I've been playing Midnight Suns like so fucking much.
Guild of Volunteers.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, my mind disappeared. Midnight Suns Guild of Volunteers and the Queen of Ebonspire.
And holds the scroll.
We are the Vanguard of the Black, and we're here. We need to have an audience with the Ore in regards to seeking out the Dragons. We are looking to get an audience with him as soon as possible, and I was hoping that, considering I am Felicia's brother, maybe I could, hopefully come over here and, request some assistance.
Very well. I will hear your full report after you have declared your magical items. Know that we will know if you're lying. The very chamber you stand within detects anything of a magical essence. So we have someone who cross-references everything that you mentioned. And she eyes two of the paintings, and you can see that there's like a faint shimmer to them, like they're rippling.
Right.
Nana kind of looks worried for a second.
Can we just say literally everything on our person? Is that because this could be a little awkward?
It's too late. She's opening her bag of holding, and she has started pulling things out, looking for it.
We've been on quite a long quest. This might take some time.
Okay, I will ask instead if anyone is trying to actively conceal anything.
And she's like halfway between trying to get the cauldron.
That's a good
what?
question. Let me just see if there's anything that's important to keep on the down
So-
low
I
here.
want to conceal, but I don't know how to go about concealing it.
That's why I'm saying there are spells that allows the concealment of magical things.
Arthur's not going to conceal anything, but if Nana's pulling all the stuff out of the bag of holding, he wants to get his hands on the deck of cards. When we go to put them back away.
do not
That's
want
not
Golden
coming
That's
out,
in a-
man.
Yeah, that's in a lead box.
Yes,
Yeah, no,
so
we are not
Arthur
telling
Which
Arthur
means
about
I don't
many
think they'll be able to
things.
detect it.
But
in
also,
there.
the cauldron's kind of stuck right now. Like, she was in the midst of pulling that out, and then they say, "Do you have anything?" And she's like, "Oh." Pushes it back in, and she's like, "Oh no, you can look at whatever you want. I just got it."
Yes, I don't think we actually need to take everything out, Nana. But
I
Does
forget what I
George
have.
think He has a way of concealing the things you probably know that I want to conceal still.
I don't know. Do you? How would you go about it with your resources at hand? You tell me how you want to conceal it.
Well, at this point, I know lead conceals it, right?
Yes.
Is not as cauldron lead?
No. It would
I
be
should
cast
hope
iron.
not. We're
Imagine
cooking
all the
now.
lead poisoning
Otherwise
we
we're
would
all
all
dead.
have. Yeah,
Oh
Please
no,
no.
it's copper. Oh yeah, it's copper. You're all going to get copper.
I had to make sure. You know, olden times, they didn't always know. Lead paint. I don't have that though.
That's
There are spells that would allow this type of thing.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have a spell to do that.
Well, shit happens, I guess. Then you just have to.
I had
I
to
mean,
ruin the surprise.
I mean, no one knows what they do, what they are.
That's true.
She never said that she will know what you have, just that you have.
Oh,
Okay, I'm keeping
like-
them in the case then.
yeah, like I feel like
Hmm.
if we're not declaring, we're just like, yeah, look.
No,
whatever
she
you
doesn't want
Yeah.
specifics. She just said they have ways of discerning magical things, and she just
Fantastic.
wants to know, like, it's not like, oh, this does this. It's more like, this is magical.
yeah,
This is
well, I'll be
magical.
like, yeah, hat, staff, cape, cloak, rod, armor, broom, headband, stones, haversack. It's got a belt in there. There's some scrolls, potion of healing, a couple of other potions, I think. Magic rope. I think that's about. Oh no, I've got some magic ink. And an instant fortress.
At that, she looks like what?
George goes up and
It's
goes,
a-
everything except my clothes.
Please keep that in pocket size while indoors.
What kind of person would deploy that inside?
Someone who
closed
was out to
spaces?
destroy my house.
Oh, a fireball could do that just as easily.
Oh, it would not.
Duh.
That's not a challenge, Gerald.
I don't know what you quite think of me, Rudy. Honestly, I'm not going to start throwing fireballs at random people's houses.
Well,
Nana.
It was
Nana.
one time.
Yeah, she looks at the rest of you,
I am
and
so
you declare your items.
just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, and she says that there's the one point where George takes up what looks like a briefcase that he's been carrying around, like a leather briefcase. He says, "There's magical stuff in it."
Don't worry
But-
about it.
Yeah, she doesn't really ask what anything does.
All right.
She says, "Well, fine." And she turns to Felicia and says, "We'll have tea in the sitting room." And Felicia nods and walks backward before turning around. You're led by the matriarch, Parkinine, through this hallway into a larger chamber filled with doors. And you can see on the left-hand side, there's a set of stairs that leads up to the left, and there's a corridor to the far right. But she takes you immediately to the left into a room with a large fireplace. Looks like a drinking cabinet, a very comfortable-looking sofa group. And there is a butler who is simply just standing next to a tray of glasses, decanters, and also what looks like a tray of assorted baked goods. You know, one of those multi-tiered trays of
yes.
cookies and little sandwiches.
At
Oh,
seeing this,
yeah.
Rudy nudges Arthur and goes, "See, isn't this so much better than just waiting around for some silly tournament?"
Arthur only sighs at this point. He's
Parkini turns around immediately and says, "Well, the tournament would give you a dedicated time with the awe. I will simply listen and confer with myself if it's worth my time to try and get you an audience."
Look,
Well-
I'm just not allowed to talk.
Excuse him, he's being dramatic. Well, at the very least, having a powerful family hear us out is certainly, a good thing to have on our side.
On the mantelpiece above the fireplace, you see what looks like a great sword that is fitted into a massive tower shield that has a large gash across it. And she sits down in a high back leather chair that faces the room itself next to the fireplace, and she just gestures for you all to sit down.
As Arthur sit down, he does make mention of the sword up there and goes, "Oh, that's a nice piece up there. What's the story behind that?"
That was my mother's armaments. The sword has become known as Gasher after the time that she defeated a Hydra.
Oh,
But instead of cutting off its head, she severed it in half. The body itself, she figured, why would anyone try to cut off the heads that just regrow when if you strike at its heart, it simply dies?
Oh.
That's certainly more efficient.
Yes.
I quite agree.
Would, like, obviously Rudy knows the family. Would Nana
Mhm.
in her travels have heard of, like, the mother?
Make a history check.
Oh no, history's so bad.
Not
For someone
history.
who's been around for so much of it.
Yeah, but she's forgotten more than she remembers.
Yeah, she's just like, what? Everything. Oh, I got a natural 20. Never mind.
Well, it is the
This
day of
one
the
she
good
recalls
rolls.
with perfect
Yeah.
clarity.
Can we like
Yes.
do some hardcore
23, yeah.
rolling today, please?
Actually, yes, you have heard of this story.
Nice.
You've heard of the Hydra itself. You don't remember the name of the Hydra. It did have a name, you know that far. Like it was called something specific, and it was the Yuan Ti, of the Eastern Lush, that summoned it using old magic, in order to try and bring forth a more powerful snake deed. They managed to summon a Hydra of massive proportion, and during this this campaign, because the Hydra brought the Yuan Ti to the edge of the mountains and tried to break in through this natural stronghold.
Hey, thank you so much, Chimney Cricket, for that wonderful raid. Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate. Hello, Joshua Morse. Hello, welcome on in. Hello, welcome in, raiders. I'm gonna have to get quickly back into the D&D game because this is a very my character focused episode. However, welcome on in. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons, roleplay, tabletop, all that good stuff. Helio Basta, hello, welcome on in. Lovely to see you all. And Gouda, hello. But yes, I'm gonna have to quickly get back into the game. So I do apologize for not being able to, chat over microphone with you guys for too long. But hope you're all having a wonderful evening / day, and enjoy our roleplay. I reply to all messages via chat, via text chat, if needed. Hope you all, again, thank you all for coming on in.
It's not Nana, it's actually Cuddly. Curana? Was it?
Arquana.
Arquana. No brain today. And Nana just goes, oh, Arquana. Yes, sorry, I've made the connection now.
As you mentioned that, actually, you see there's a little bit of a glint in Parkini's eye. Like, she's having not really a nostalgic moment, but she appreciates, like, oh, someone who knows of our legacy. It's almost like she gets a sense of pride hearing someone else mention that name.
Nice.
Mm.
Yes, a very interesting battle, and well won, I think. But I'm sorry, that's not why we're here.
Yes, of course not. You are here because you want to meet the Awe. Now, while yes, I have the capability of pulling such strings on short notice, it is more difficult. And I would like to hear more. Essentially, convince me, why would I put this effort in?
Well, as Rudy had mentioned earlier, I believe you're somewhat affiliated with the military of this place, so I guess this kind of would be of import to yourself as well. Currently, there is a massive threat to. I don't really want to say the world, but I can't I can't see that being an exaggeration at the moment.
What kind of threat?
An existential one. They're essentially
Sounds
a
very
party.
philosophical.
Well, in a sense. Sorry, I'll try not to ramble a bit too much. Nana will just tap me on the shoulder if I'm going a bit too off on a tangent.
It's an
Oh,
undead army.
sure.
There is an undead army of gigantic proportions that is threatening not just Ebenspire, but if turned upon the rest of the world,
When turned upon the rest
turned
of the
upon the
world.
rest of the world, will be devastating. We have spent the last several months discovering information, fighting various skirmishes against leaders of this threat. On behalf of the Queen of Ebonspire, we have her seal here. I know it doesn't mean much here, but at least we have it to show that we're speaking the truth.
She holds a hand out.
Oh, Rudy hands one over.
As you're talking, she like nods at you to continue as she's opening the seal.
And we believe you've already had a taste of these creatures in the Eastern Lush, where my
Yes.
comrades went and helped liberate Fungi Majora. Yeah, that's right. Get that in there.
Yes.
She,
Which, yes, that was us.
as far as
actually.
I'm aware, there were no undead creatures in Fungi Majora.
It was demons, yes, colluding with the undead.
Essentially, it's the reason I said existential in nature is because this army is not the real threat. This army is merely the tip of the spear. The army is meant to be the thrust that pierces the veil between our realms and ushers in the return of probably not the god that we want to return.
And which one would that be? And she sort of like nods at Rudy and holds up the scroll.
That would be Suriel, the
way.
Horseman of War.
Can't say I'm familiar with that name.
That is understandable. The deities are not, part of general conversation in this modern age, but
Bad news, essentially.
bad news.
And the one responsible for undead, generally speaking.
Well, the undead pose no threat to the Ivory Hold.
They don't?
At this time, no. But as Gerald mentioned, the undead are the tip of the threats. It's if Suriel manages to make a foothold within this plane, then it won't just be undead. It'll be all manner of terrible creatures.
Or just terror in general. I can't imagine
Exactly.
unending war.
But we're
Of that
not
nature.
here. We're not here to request assistance or an army. We're here again, as I said, for information. I
Yes,
believe
you mentioned something about dragons.
yes.
Quite right, yes. But mainly because our nemesis, as it were, is trying to destroy the remaining dragons, take their essence, and use that as the power to break the seal on her god, essentially. And I know this sounds very far-fetched, and we haven't been dealing with gods and such directly for...
Well, if you
However-
hadn't handed me this signed letter from the Queen, I would have thrown you out and called you mad.
Oh,
That
yes,
is
well,
why
I
it was
still
im-
wonder if that's not still the case sometimes, but be that as it may, this threat is unfortunately very real.
Thus why I believed that maybe by meeting with the Shurgard family, we might be able to expedite an audience with Yor. But that's, as you stated, might be a little bit harder than I make it out to be.
And time being of the essence, because we need to beat her to the Air Dragons.
I believe the Yor has contact with an Ur-Dragon, or at least might know of one's whereabouts.
I don't know what the Awe knows, and I don't pretend to know. I won't say that your concerns aren't valid. As I said, we have no issue with the undead. They pose no risk to us, but creatures that charged through the Eastern Lush, those might be an issue.
You mean the ones that attacked Fungi Majora?
Yes, and since you say that you were part of that,
Yes, we were part of that.
And those demons were part of what we're speaking of.
I assumed as much. And you know what tomorrow's celebrations are all about?
No,
We
actually,
do.
I'm not a local. Wait, do we?
Well, Nana and I, yes, we have an inclination, yes.
Oh, well, I guess I'll be filled in.
Well, I ask you to uphold that masquerade, if you will. Is-
Arthur's sort of masquerade of what? They thinking they did it all.
It is for the people.
Oh, right.
This-
The king.
But I died. I literally, and Arthur's getting very cranky right
yes, no, Arthur, I understand that, but now is not the time.
You
For
died.
that. And
he got
yes,
better.
And you came back.
I'm not sure if Felicia never mentioned me, but I have the
Very
ability.
fleetingly, and not in many years.
Yes, that I.
Are you
Understand.
trying to tell me that you brought this man, he gestures towards Arthur, back from the brink of death?
now. Elf, not man.
I think that
Arthur?
was a figure of speech.
Arthur?
though.
Yeah, yes, I
Alright,
did.
no, you brought Gerald back before too, right?
Oh,
I'm-
yes.
I'm withholding
You've done
no
this
information.
multiple times.
I prefer not to remember it, honestly.
Yes, but yes.
And just to be perfectly clear, are we talking about almost dead or actually dead? And she leans in towards the group.
Well, this is a sign of trust, but yes, completely dead.
Oh,
And she narrows her eyes. Leans back.
Have we uttered one lie to you so far?
And you all can vouch that this is the truth?
I tied my
Yes.
ribbon a little bit and say, "Trust me, everything we've said today is the truth."
She looks at you as you do that. Nods. All right.
yes, well, I certainly wouldn't exist
Fascinating.
in this form if it
It-
weren't for
It's
Rudy's intervention.
It is an ability I would like spread, but yes, it is possible.
What are the requirements for this?
Oh, well, it depends. If it's recently fallen on the battlefield, it's a matter of just having the right materials, I suppose. If it's
What materials?
Hang on. It sounds like you want to bring someone back.
Arthur, please. Unless
Like
one
That is why I'm asking
also.
for the
I-
requirements. And yes, feel free to make an insight check.
Oh yeah, I
George.
was. Yeah, George. you
Yeah,
know.
anyone who wants to can make an insight check.
Arthur is.
Yeah.
19.
That'll do it.
Natural 20 to
Let's
make
go.
a 30.
Let's go!
Arthur got
It is the
40.
day of good
Well,
rolls.
It is the night.
What
Yeah,
the-
wow, look at that.
It's the night for 20.
This is the night for diplomacy.
I feel like with a passive of 10 that I don't even think to think about it more, you know?
No,
He's
you're
like,
just
"Yeah, this
thinking
is
about
fine."
the actual answers to the questions posed.
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
Oh, Gerald, you sweet bean. The rest of us are like, sus. And you're like, yeah, sounds good.
let's
like, I don't know
see.
if we should
Did Nana
necessarily,
want to
but yeah.
do? Cody,
Oh
did you
yeah,
make an
you know,
insight?
I thought since someone else, but yeah, she'll do one. Oh my God, she got like a 14, a 13, something like that. 13, yeah, not great.
13?
but yeah, yeah.
Arthur and Nana, you definitely like pick up on this line of questioning being odd and not having anything to do with why you came.
Just out of curiosity.
Hmm.
Are you doing one?
No.
You're just wondering why no one has just mentioned the diamonds. You know, like what?
Oh my
what,
God.
what your insight of a natural one, you don't really make so much as an insight check on her. You're questioning instead why Rudy's deflecting.
Now I know why all the high rolls have happened. It was waiting for
Oh,
Don't worry, guys, I got you.
yes.
You gotta balance out the karma.
George, you pick up her heartbeat I'm gonna let you, with your senses, your insight catches the different things. You definitely like sense her heartbeat, sense that her temperature rises. She seems almost excited. Like she's trying to hold back an excitement. Her body is like starting to fill with adrenaline, but she's doing her best to maintain like composure. Rudy, she wants to bring someone back.
Yeah.
And she's trying without saying it outright.
Mm.
She's trying to find out if it would be possible just by asking about how you do it.
Right. Well, when I say the right resources, I am one of those resources. It's not an ability that anyone can learn. It's definitely an ability that I've gained through not just my experiences, but my connection with the deities. So that's why it's just asking how to do it is unfortunately more difficult to explain.
But what does it require?
Me.
Just you? And you can bring anyone back?
Again, it
Well,
depends on
there-
how they've gone down.
Magical reagents involved.
Yes.
Yes.
There are materials required, but the core of it is myself and the how that they died.
Someone who was struck down in battle
When?
a month ago?
Rudy can do that with a spell. I can't remember the exact name of the spell, but Rudy, I believe, can do it. Let me just find it. I don't think I have it. I do not have it prepared.
Can you?
Is it?
Not as Gerald. Can you reincarnate? Is there a time limit on
Rudy
reincarnation?
It's
has
me.
Rudy
I can
has
do it.
resurrection.
Yeah.
Rudy
Oh no,
has
no,
Yeah,
resurrection.
you can
that
resurrect,
was more
I can
for Nana.
reincarnate.
I was
Yeah.
asking about reincarnate
Hmm.
though. Is there a time limit on that?
I believe there is.
I think so. I believe it was. You know what? I'm just
Because
gonna look at it.
Raise Dead needs Raise the
needs
Dead
the whole
needs
corpse,
10
right?
days.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Raise Dead requires
reincarnate is also 10 days.
Reincarnate is also 10 days.
Yes.
Yes. Resurrection
Is a century.
century.
Wow.
As long as the soul is still free and willing.
Willing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does require an hour casting as well.
Willing is
But,
a big part.
Yeah.
Willing. Yes.
It also it closes mortal wounds but does not restore body parts.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Rudy is like, look, I can see in your line of questioning you want to ask me to bring someone back. Is this correct?
Yes.
Will this get an audience with the ore?
Yes.
Should we not ask who you want to bring back before we commit?
I'm not committing anything yet. But yes, Arthur is right. Who would I be bringing back?
My daughter.
You say she fell in battle.
She was the first shield. Current first shield of the Ivory Hold, yes.
Arthur sort of goes, excuse me, he stands up and he leaves the room.
First of all, I am sorry for your loss, and I apologize for,
Can it be
bringing
done?
this- Technically, yes, it can be done.
At what cost?
It would cost an audience with the tonight.
And when could you do this?
Cool. And the reagents. Cool.
And the reagents would be 1,000 gold value worth of diamonds.
She leans back and relaxes for the first time during this entire conversation. I would need collateral if you are to meet the Awe tonight, but not do this service for me until tomorrow.
Why tomorrow?
Well, you said you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it today, right?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, you are right. I would need to. I apologize. It's been a long day. As I'm sure you can understand, that was insensitive of me.
And she sort of hand gestures, and the butler that's just been standing pours a drink and comes over with a little tray of treats. She takes a swig of what seems to be some sort of brandy, and she grabs a little sugar cookie.
I do warn you, though, was she... And this is going to be a macabre series of questioning, but did she lose any limbs?
One of her arms.
Right. While I can bring her back, the arm will not return.
Okay.
The soul also must be willing. If your daughter decided that it was her time to go, then the spell will not take hold, and she will not come back. So while I can guarantee that if she
cannot come back against her own will.
Correct. That is what
That is
separates
good
this spell
news to me.
from necromancy.
And at the mention of the word necromancy, she does narrow her eyes again.
Again,
But
I'm withholding no information.
knowing that she will come back of her own volition makes me glad. I would not want to force her to return. Especially if she wouldn't have her shield arm.
Well,
Rudy-
there's great advancements in prosthetics and indeed mechanical arms we've seen. Isn't that right?
Oh, absolutely, yes. In fact, we had a dear friend of ours lose one of her legs, and essentially we managed to acquire her, a chair that can do all sorts of manner of things, really. She's more mobile than some of us.
Now that I think about it, I did hear about weapons moving on their own volition. Maybe we could commission a shield with similar property.
Oh, certainly. That's very feasible.
But that is not up to discussion right now. As I mentioned, collateral. I would need something to keep to make sure that you uphold your promise.
Nana starts to dig through her bag again. Like, Well,
What kind of collateral would you require?
Something important. Something valuable or sentimental enough to guarantee that you would come back for it.
Oh, you already have something like that from me.
Oh, really?
At this point, just for dramatic flair, can the pig come walking back into the room?
There's a little scraping at the door. It's been closed. And the butler opens, and yeah, the little pig figurine is just like scrabbling over.
Thank you, Josie.
It does a wobble, full wobble.
Rudy picks it up and places it on, I'm assuming there's a coffee table.
Yeah.
This figurine not only carries immense sentimental value to myself, how it also contains an immense amount of power when wielded by myself.
And also baby drool by the looks of things.
Now, Gerald, we're not going to...
Is that a tooth mark?
It's fine.
I think it is.
That one was mine when I was young. Don't worry.
She looks at it a bit like, and this would guarantee you return?
This figurine has allowed me to ensure that my companions survived. Most of my companions survived that battle with the demons in Fungi Majora. While not by itself, when I wield it, yes. So, yes.
She leans forward and picks it up. Make a persuasion check.
I would like to note that Rudy has not said one lie since coming here. Surely that would give him advantage.
Nope.
Damn it. Well, we are
What
definitely
about
going
with the
to
trust me
utilize...
thing?
We're going to definitely utilize...
Well, the 14.
Nah, we're
14
gonna add on.
is-
We're gonna add on.
you're doing the thing.
Yeah, knowledge of the past life. We're going to add a
Nice.
6 to that, D6. So 18.
18. Yeah. She looks at it. Yes. This will suffice. And she just like whiffs her hand and it disappears. Gerald, you notice this is wrist pocket.
Wrist pocket. Yep.
Nice.
Very well. Tomorrow, after the parade, you will do this for me. But now, shall we? And she just stands up. Let's go meet the king.
Oh.
And she starts just walking out.
Oh yeah, we're
See, I-
following her.
Yep.
And with this, Rudy
That's
goes...
up, that's up.
He sort of mumbles to the group. I told you I could get this done earlier.
Do you guys see Arthur outside the door then? Like, because he's...
Yeah, we'll pass you probably.
Come on, Arthur. We're going to meet a king.
And he just quietly follows behind.
And that's where we're going to take our break.
Excellent. 'Cause I need to go to the little frozen room.
Me too, but not the little frozen.
I need to go to the little Josie room and refill my drink because people keep bombarding me to drink.
Wouldn't be us. It's not us.
No.
Oh yeah, my
No.
bottle
It'd
is
never be
suspiciously
me.
empty
Oh,
as
that's
well.
me.
Oh, you need
Wasn't
more
me.
milk.
Totally
Yeah.
not the
Yeah,
comfy
my neighbor was
gremlins
doing
doing
It's not
that,
the comfy
right?
gremlin people. No, it's not us who are not streaming.
No, never.
No. Of course not. Of course not. All right, I'm gonna go grab that water now. I'll be right back.
That water.
Water.
That
Right, me too.
water.
Me too.
Water. I'm gonna be sitting here going through some music actually to see if I can find some good vibes.
Gotcha. I'm gonna send you a message.
Oh my god, you're sending me a message?
Yes, and it will not be in your own voice. Don't worry.
Oh my god, I hope not. How's everyone doing though? What's happening? How's life? How is life? Let's see, how is this? Oh yeah, I can get behind this. Oh man, Domino's kind of watching from a heated blanket. Ooh, Pammy, does Arthur eventually need to replace the Nana's cooking, which he has in his possession? Yeah, he will. Okay, I'm gonna be right back as well. Gouda, you're on your own.
Oh no. Hello, chats. It is me, Good Tome, cosplaying as George. How is everyone? I hope you guys are well. Good stream? No, this is still your favorite streamer stream. I'm just here to entertain you guys until I get back. I'm just babysitting you guys. How are you? Please rate me a 5 out of 5 on what's a nanny website? I was just gonna say Yelp. Give me 5 stars on Yelp. What? Femi, no rioting. No rioting, or I'm gonna send you to your room. It's Duke. Hello, Duke. It is a good. Desi, yes, I am in charge. Hello. What? No rioting, Desi. Why do you have a bomb, Pimmy? I'm telling your streamers. What the heck? I thought my character was the little shit. What are you guys doing? Bombs? Pitchforks? 500?
Why did I hear bombs and pitchforks? What are you doing, Gouda?
I'm not doing anything. It's the chat. They're rioting with bombs and pitchforks and torches.
We don't need bombs, pitchforks, and torches, alright? Rudy's got enough on his plate as it is, please.
It's okay. Don't worry about the bombs that George has. I mean, the ones that he doesn't have.
No, the ones that he doesn't. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, the ones that he doesn't have.
What?
God, it's like
I'm nothing.
nothing. I have this feeling of dread, this absolute feeling of dread.
Why? About meeting the king?
No, about the resurrection not taking.
Yeah.
I have this absolute pit in my stomach.
I will say that Rudy would also have sent a sense of comfort when the matriarch said that she was happy over the fact that her daughter had to consent to being brought back.
Yeah.
So you get the sensation that she doesn't really. She's not like, I need my daughter back, but she's like, there's a chance.
Okay, all right.
But
knowing
if,
that makes me feel a bit better.
Yeah, but if the spell were to fail because the soul doesn't want to return, you get the sense that she would still be relieved, knowing that her daughter is at peace.
I'm more concerned about, I don't know. I'm more concerned about Urgathoa. I don't know. This feels like doing something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah. I will say though, George and Rudy, because of some of your RP choices, you avoided some less than good things. Yeah.
Which choices?
Because of the use of trust me and the mention of bringing people back, you managed to avoid the actual favor that she would have asked.
Can we explain trust me real quick for the people who are new? Because I kind of just slipped that in there.
Yeah. So George, his relic is a ribbon, the ribbon that is tied around the avatar's neck.
Yes.
And it is the ribbon of his younger sister. And it holds a great sentimental value, which is how these relics work. They are items of such sentimental value that they gain their own magical properties, which includes Rudy's pig that we had the mention of. And one of the abilities that George has is to tie up his hair with a ribbon and utter the words, "Trust me." And the following sentence, he must speak the truth, and anyone who hears it knows that it is the truth.
Right.
Which is why I specifically said that everyone here has thus far spoken the truth.
Yeah.
Right. To make sure that they knew Rudy was
So
telling the truth the entire time.
So that would have magically sort of like imparted onto the matriarch that what George just said is the truth. You have all thus far spoken the truth.
In a place we're not supposed to use magic, used magic, but it worked out, didn't get caught. Let's go.
That's
I mean,
why I was
it's because
afraid.
it's not really like verbal somatic spell casting.
Yeah.
The relics are they kind of have their own rules in a weird way.
Yeah.
They exist, outside of. I feel like the relics are they're like gifts that we have received from deities, like in terms of I don't know. I feel like that's kind of how I've reasoned it, or Rudy's reasoned it in his head.
If that's the way that Rudy has reasoned it, and for Rudy being a cleric, it does have ties to your deity. But for example, everyone else, Gerald's sort of does as well in a different way. But when it comes to George, Arthur, and Nana, the relics are just deeply personal items.
Mm.
For
Like-
George, it's the ribbon. Go ahead, Ikuda.
I was gonna say the ribbon was their mother's before the sister too.
Yeah.
There you go.
And one of the abilities that the ribbon gives you is also locate creature, because you were searching for your sister for a very, very long time.
Hmm. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I was very afraid because I thought George was casting a spell, and I thought that was just all hell was gonna break loose after that. I was like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah. No, these are not spells; they are just magical effects.
Mm.
I'm
For
sneakier
Arthur-
than that, Ozzy.
Yeah.
I just
So sneaky. Especially now that you have enough levels in sorcerer that you can actually do like meta magic stuff.
Yeah.
like Rudy's trying so hard to get us through this as like cleanly as possible, and it's like every time like he perceives that someone in the party is going to derail it, it's instantly sending him on high alert. Like
Why do you think I
Darcy
name dropped
loves
your
all
mom?
this. Yeah.
I was like, oh, you mean this lady? And she was like, oh,
Oh.
thank God someone knows her. I'm like, oh.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm loving the George and Arthur jump-ins, but like Rudy's just like, stop, just let me deal with it. This is I know
None
this
of the
best.
true support, Arthur the true chaos, and George jumping back and forth between them. And Gerald with his nat 1.
Gerald's just like, are we finishing this conversation or what?
Yeah.
May
but
we ask what the actual favor was?
Yeah, I was gonna mention when Roju comes back, but I didn't want to
Ah, yeah.
tell for those
Mm.
watching when it comes to the relics. For Arthur, it's his the wedding band of his late wife.
Yep.
It gives him some abilities related to his emotions, pertaining his life with and after his wife.
I return.
And for Nana, it is a very, very special spoon that her mother gave her, and it was carved out of the arch tree in Bandoria. So it's very personal items. And while we're talking about relics, for Gerald, the relics is actually a hat that he found in a lost and found box, and he recently found out that it was actually not an accident. It was apparently meant to be.
Yep. It was
It's
all
not so much that he found the
orchestrated.
hat came looking for him.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Gerald's hat is also connected to sort of a deity, not as it's more directly connected than Rudy's, but Rudy's has made his a connection. Because it still comes from his selfish desires, in a way. It comes from him taking the pain of his childhood and using it essentially against his family. A sort of
Wow, that's
a sort of like poetic revenge in keeping them alive, which you have now. Both of your parents have had their lives at your mercy,
yeah.
and you have saved them.
Yeah.
But
pretty
not
much.
because you care about your parents. You've literally, this has been established. Rudy did it just so that he can rub it in their faces.
Yeah.
Imagine having a tragic backstory. It could literally never be Nana.
Oh,
It's
You
no.
all
actually-
have these like awful things that have happened, and I'm just sitting here like, yeah, her parents were great.
Yeah, instead, Nana's like, I'm about to die, and I don't feel like it.
Well, and I don't feel like
I
it.
don't wanna.
Nana had a
know.
great life. Nana had a great life,
Yeah.
and now it just feels like it's coming
No,
to
but-
an end too soon.
That's the
George
tragedy.
had an amazing childhood until he came to this plane, and you humans have fucked it up for
Ruined a lot
him.
of people's lives.
Look, but that's the tragedy of Nana's backstory, isn't it? Her life was too good. It was too good, and now she, you know.
I mean,
doesn't-
she also has to like deal with her dad going through bleaching, but you
that
know,
is true.
like
Yeah.
other than that, like her childhood was freaking great. You know,
Just minor adult trauma.
yeah, normal adult traumas. It's fine.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you
We all
hang
have
out
them.
with you hang out with us lots, so yeah, there's a lot of drama there.
Well, yeah.
You know,
I
there's
think
a therapist.
I think traveling with this group is what's keeping Nana going, really.
Hmm.
Aw, people shy.
Oh my god, Cuddly, I can't believe you did that.
Again.
Wow.
So
Wow.
At
so
least she's young.
Roju,
Yes,
Josie was
Roju.
explaining, yeah.
Yes,
Mm,
actually,
yes.
through several pieces of really good RP, I will fit in Nana's mention of Arquana as well. Nana knowing about Arquana, George using his relics ability, Trust Me, and Rudy mentioning Resurrection. These things led to you all managing to avoid the actual favors you would have asked of you.
Oh,
Ooh.
interesting.
Which would have been, you could either have paid 500 platinum,
Oof.
or you could have cleaned her lavatory. Or the
Oh, I've done
house's
That's a
lavatory
cantrip.
pit.
I-
Well, Rudy would be the one to know that these places have like massive pits underneath the house
Oh, it's that.
where it all just
oh.
builds up.
This is a long drop situation. I see.
Yeah, and
No, this is
there
a
was
fireball
gonna
situation,
there
if
was
I've
gonna
ever
no there
seen
was
one.
gonna be a whole situation about certain things having moved into said
Yeah.
lavatory.
Yeah, it
Oh,
literally would have been
Ooh.
Little
fireball
party
down there.
pets.
This would be like
Yay!
a Conker's Bad Fur Day kind of situation.
Yes, we would have had to fight the Great and Mighty Pooh. Yes,
Yeah,
Damn,
like
absolutely.
a drowners in the sewer kind of thing.
Like the
Okay,
drowners
we
in
get
the
We
it.
could
sewer.
also
Yeah.
potentially have a gelatinous cube pet.
That would go
Done with
great with
ooze
our
and
mimic.
goose. Okay, I'm
Oh.
done with it in this campaign. I
It's
can't
just
even look it in the little.
pesky.
Yes, Pesty's been living down there for months,
Pesty's
yo.
I
It's
got
like,
Eh,
whenever anyone
Oh,
opens
no.
the toilet lid, and it's just Pesty's face.
Oh my god, what if the brain somehow ended up in there and we didn't notice?
I don't know, that'd be pretty shit.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway, how about those dragons and dungeons? Yeah.
Well
Should
done.
we get
How
back,
about
back to it then?
Yeah, please.
Oh man.
as you follow Parkany out? As she's stepping across the bridge, there's a shimmer of light, and the guards like hurriedly open everything for her. She's not saying much of a word. As you start walking across the bridge, her clothing shimmers, a little faint, like a slight light source on a very calm water surface. And by the time you reach the other side of the bridge, she's wearing full armor. She's just been walking.
Oh, we should do that. It's so clunky.
I don't want to take off these robes.
She she keeps walking, and the gates open, and she leads you to where you were previously, earlier today, the fire giants guarding the castle. She leads you to the front gate of the Ivory Hold, where you see Olivar and Freckles.
Hey, Freckles.
I waved to them.
And Freckles says, "Hello."
We got our audience.
"Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad for you."
Thank
And
you for all your help.
they do see like Parkany walking in full armor. On her back is a massive shield and a sword that's like behind the shield. And she's just walking, like doesn't even look at them. And the massive gates to the castle screech open. They don't open fully, they open enough for you all to pass through. You don't really see anyone around who's manning the gate, but it opens.
We don't even get this
I
treatment
just
in
presumed the
Evansville.
giants would push it open.
No, because they are sending the walls actually go further out, and there's like an opening, and then there's an inner wall that has the gates.
I
So
see,
she
I
just
see.
walks by the giants, the gate opens, and
Dude.
she's just marching up towards
Sheer
the
force
castle
of
entrance.
will. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
She doesn't need any components to cast Alohomora. And she just walks up. As she gets to the main entrance of the castle, she stops and waits for you all to catch up. And she's been power walking.
Nana's only got little legs.
She's
Gerald
big.
hasn't been
She's
getting
got
much
big.
exercise.
She's got big vibes going, and her hair has been tied up in a bun Like she's standing there. She takes the braid and just like wraps it around itself and fastens a bun at the back of her head. And she sort of like stretches herself a bit and lets you all come up and says, "You all ready?"
No, but we're
Oh,
here.
oh, we're
Wonderful. And
Okay.
she this time she puts her hand on the door and she pushes it open, and you see this thick oak door. And she pushes it open with one hand. These massive doors. And she just gestures for you to go in.
In here? Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
She follows behind and closes the door. There's like this very loud rumbling as it shuts. You're standing in a stone hallway. Similar to in her home, you see these silver and white carpets. They seem to go into all the doors, line the floor. You see sconces burning with a golden fire, shedding light around. And ahead of you is an opening. Like dead ahead, 50 feet forward, is a massive spiral staircase leading up. She leads you forward and to the right, where you see a massive, massive room. You see carved out of marble, pews, dozens of rows, enough to fit hundreds of people. There's no one in here right now. And ahead, like someone has poured molten gold, just free poured it over a massive stone chair. And while it was warm, just molded it into these jagged spires. A throne. Large throne. And as you're walking up towards it, suddenly, as you blink, someone sits in it. Just sitting there. Harkany doesn't flinch. You hear her boots, metallic against stone under carpet. Quiet, echoing throughout this chamber. You see these beautiful stained glass windows showing you illusions of various parts of the Esther Shard. And ahead, you see Dylan Florian. Now, you've seen him before from a distance. Rudy, likewise. This is the Orr. He's got long, golden blonde hair that falls like beautiful satin strands. He's got very sharp-shouldered robe. Comes to points. He's white with golden trims and embroidery of nearby his feet. There's almost look like gold embroidered mountain tops, like a range of peaks. And he sits with one leg over the other. You can see he has bare feet and bare-legged underneath this gorgeous, form-fitting robe. Short sleeves that stop by the elbow. They open wildly with flowing hems. A bit of his chest is exposed. There's a high collar that goes out and back behind his head. It too seems to have been cut to form a mountain range. As you're getting closer and perspective becomes clearer, he's tall. Very tall. And he looks down at all of you with a grin. Welcome, Vanguard of the Black. I must say, I didn't expect you to come see me quite so soon after entering my domain.
Well, we can be very persuasive when we need to.
Very
Shush!
efficient.
Holds a finger up, and you see Park, and he walks all the way up to the steps leading to the dais where he's sitting, and she kneels down. And he sort of gives you all a look, like,
Rudy kneels.
Yeah, just follows the lead.
Arthur does not.
Arthur, please.
Yep.
For me, you need to, please.
Do the thing.
Arthur bows his head.
George, do you prostrate before the king?
Begrudgingly, but he might do it a little bit with a sarcastic flair. Like make it a little flamboyant to because yeah.
Arthur, think of yourself representing the guild, not yourself. And the queen.
He comes down with a big thud as he drops the knee.
So we are civilized, after all.
All you hear is Arthur grunting at the moment. He's,
It is good to see you again, Lady Sureguard. Thank you for bringing my guests in. You are excused. And she immediately stands up and leaves without a word. As she leaves, she does give a pat to you on the shoulder, Rudy. Like as she's standing up, just a quick pat on the back of your shoulder.
Hmm.
And you hear her footsteps leave, and the king doesn't speak until he hears again the large doors close. And now you may stand.
Arthur's like the first one to stand.
George would not be far behind. Like it might be like a photo finish.
Look, it's Nana's weak knees that make her third, okay?
Quick question, Josie. Is the room in low light?
It is a very bright light.
Okay. Just making sure. For reasons.
Uh-huh.
He's like, please
For
don't.
reasons. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Now, in the presence of one such as myself,
That
I
fool.
ask that you decloak. He stands up. He starts walking towards you, Arthur.
Oh, dear.
And he comes down, and he stands 9 feet tall.
That's pretty big.
Mm.
And he's standing at the top of the steps. So with the steps added, he's like 10 and a half feet tall above you. Would you care to repeat yourself? Looks at you,
No.
Arthur.
I cannot.
Will you hold thy tongue and only speak if necessary?
Looks over at Rudy and goes,
It's like, if it's not often that Rudy shows pleading, even though he doesn't have, enough facial expression to show it through the slit that he has for the eyes, but you see completely 100% like...
It's just an incredibly pointed stare, hey?
No, this is like
puppy dog's eyes.
he's
You're like-
scared. He's terrified.
Bible thumping.
He is it is a look of, if you don't like, it's a look of absolute fear for you.
And he turns and he just looks back.
I'd say
and goes,
everyone except for Gerald would realize this.
would be
Gerald. Just
But the
like,
thing
why
is,
is no one
Gerald is just
answering?
scared of everything and
Yeah.
anyone anyway.
Gerald,
so...
Gerald, it just looks like Rudy's staring as per
Mm.
usual, but
Yes.
everyone else can is keyed in. I'm
Yeah,
saying
I
like
see,
you got
I see. Yeah.
you got the perception to see what's happening, but everyone else has the insight to know what it means.
Yeah. Rudy has never shown this in the entire time you've known him, Arthur.
He turns around and Arthur goes, "Sorry for this disrespectful remark I made."
Good boy! And he turns around, and the hem of his cloak just slaps you in the face as he turns around.
Someone might have to hold him back soon.
He walks back to the chair and with a flourish sits back down. And you see, as he sits back down, George, you're the only one who would really notice this. There's a flinch across his face when his left elbow touches the armrest of his throne. It's barely
God can
noticeable, but
bleed.
there's like
Okay.
a tiniest twitch in his face.
George suppresses a smile and kind of nudges Nana and pointedly looks his eyes over there very subtly. Something that they probably got used to doing on their adventure of like
In
subtle
this case,
like
there's
cues.
Nana doesn't key into seeing this, but Nana is now aware that there's something to keep an eye out for.
Okay, yeah.
Because it was
Um,
such like a flash moment, you know, like a micro expression.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, Josie, I did want to ask because you said he
Mhm.
wasn't there and then he just suddenly like was. And would
Yeah.
we just know this to be like an illusion or like magic, or would we have to sort of look deeper? Like, because the queen has always just been there.
Yeah.
Added to that question, was he unperceivable with George's other senses?
You were too
before it as
far
well?
away. You were too
Okay.
far away, and it was when you got close enough. So for George, he was always there.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. For George, George didn't realize that he wasn't visible.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But Nana, you out of all of these people know that there are many ways that one can make illusions or pop in and pop out of certain places.
True.
Like
We do love
you are a
to
savant. It's
teleport.
just yeah, you're a savant to just at the turn of a heel appear somewhere else.
Woo! Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah, and I'll say as well, like you have magical capabilities amongst the group, and no one really got any whiff of any particular like effects. He was just there suddenly.
Cool. Yeah. No, I was just curious. Cool.
He sits back down in his chair and leans back. He looks very casual. Again, he puts his right leg over his left knee and he just sits there. Who speaks for the group?
Arthur doesn't
Not
say
gonna
anything
speak.
but pushes Rudy forward.
Yes. Please, wizard person.
Yes.
Sorry, I assume you're not aware of our customs, but you and this speaker, please, cowls off, if you will.
Cowls? Oh, you mean the hats?
Yes.
I'll sort of just tuck it under my arm, I suppose.
And it gives you a pointed look, Rudy.
Rudy removes his.
There's no sign of anything
Mhm.
on Dylan's face. Now, what can I do for you?
Well, first of all, we do apologize for the swiftness of this meeting. Were we able to wait until tomorrow, then we would have gone through the proper channels. I assume, well, actually, I won't assume anything. You're already aware that we are the Vanguard of the Black, that we represent the Queen of Ebonspire.
Yes.
Are you aware of our quest?
Vaguely.
Are you aware that our movements have taken us as far as Fungi Majora, recently.
Yes, and I know that it is because of your actions that I am going to, at some point in the future, have to send forces to guard that infernal prison.
I apologize. I don't know what you mean. We saved
The
Fungi
Blue
Major.
Tower.
What about the Blue Tower?
It
What
was
at?
no longer carrying the protection of Muhit.
Oh, that is.
So it is going to
yeah.
fall to me as the guardian of the realm to make sure that no one gets out.
Ah.
So I feel
What-
like you owe me, really, right now.
However, the defense of Fungi Majora. The fact that
We
the
had
demons
it.
were defeated.
You just got there first.
Oh, well.
Hmm.
Look, I didn't come here to discuss that. I just was ensuring that you were aware of our movements.
Yes.
We're looking for an Ur-Dragon. A gold Ur-Dragon. And Rudy looks to Gerald for confirmation that that is the Ur-Dragon that, yes.
Yes, quite right.
A gold Ur-Dragon. And I believed, with my knowledge after living here for as long as I did, knowing the customs that we have in the Ivory Hold and yourself, that I believe that possibly, seeking an audience with yourself would allow us to point us in a direction of the gold Ur-Dragon.
You assume correctly. I do know where your dragon is.
Ah, well, that is wonderful news. Would there be any way that you could direct us to them or arrange an audience at all?
Gerald was sort of scratching his head
Please?
and now he's like, "Oh, Dionysus,
Dionysus, the name was that the name?
the gold
Yes.
dragon."
With Dionysus. Sorry, my memory isn't what it used to be.
I'm curious, how did you come to learn the name of the dragon?
I will allow Gerald to answer that one for me.
Well, that
Gerald,
was-
you're allowed to answer the question.
Thank you. Well, that was when we spoke to Shams over in the Scorching Sea.
So it's not just Muhit that we have interacted with. And I'm sure you do know that we do so with, good intentions in preventing the destruction of this entire existence.
Realm, yes.
Realm.
So you've sought 2 dragons already.
Yes, I believe
Yes.
we're at 2. Yes.
Our foe, who leads the forces that are are attempting to bring about this end, she might have engaged with another one, possibly. I think we've sort of gathered that information.
I believe she is working on the white dragon in the south, Thalage.
Poor creature, Thalage. And if you met Dionysus, what would you ask?
Well, we would be looking into any information regarding their campaign against the deities back ages past, looking for information to assist us in defense of the realm, and if there is any assistance they can provide, if they could provide it. That is why Muhit abjugated his position. He believed that he was coming to an end of his natural lifespan, and the best way that they could help us, was to leave with us, so to speak.
Pass on the essence to one who didn't mean the destruction of much of the realm.
Yes, little one.
Josie, I was asking you a question.
Oh, shit.
Can I insight on him after he said what we asked Dionysus? Because that in my brain makes me think maybe he's him, and I'd like to insight on that.
I
Just
had-
in
I
case.
had that
feel
thought as
like
well.
he's him,
Yeah.
man.
Make an
Rudy
insight check.
has no time to insight. He's
I
shitting
only
himself.
rolled a 17 this time.
17. You get similar vibes to with Parkany. It's more of like, I'm not gonna bring the message on until I know what it is. I'm not just gonna ask if you can meet if I don't know what it is you want.
Okay. Fair, fair.
Also, even just simply more information on the other that we have perhaps less leads on. Any such things are appreciated after all. But also a warning that not all the dragons may know, in fact, that they are being targeted by Jalira, and with the intent of stealing their essences.
Please repeat that. Stealing their essences.
Oh, yes, quite right. Her intent is to essentially kill them, take their power, and then wield their combined power to punch a hole in our reality and allow the return of Suriel ahead of any other deities, essentially.
I see. I see.
It's pretty
Well,
bad
that
news.
would be a predicament. There is one point, though. I don't see how this would be his problem. Well, I'm quite adamant on the stance that none of the previous Ur-Dragons have had the power that he holds, and he's still young. He's in his prime.
All the more reason if his power is more potent.
But why? Nothing poses a threat to him.
Maybe not now, but if
I would-
Jalira was able to make contact with other dragons, steal their essences, and then wield the combined might towards, not just, Dionysus, but the Ivory Hold itself, would that not be terrible?
It would. But I ask, has it not crossed your mind, to play the dragon's advocate, if you will, that maybe this Jalira has already gathered essences? Maybe. What if I go to Dionysus and I say, this group wants to warn you, they want to seek your aid? What if it turns out that he's already made a pact with your enemies? Then what would you do?
Well, then we would have to deal with that, wouldn't we?
How? I can't.
That's
For
great
the
question.
for the life of me, I cannot imagine the five of you doing much against.
Well,
How?
a lot of people before you have thought that the five of us could not do much against a great many number of things. And I would also be of one of those people previously, but as it turns out, we've been quite capable thus far.
Well, very well. Then what can you offer, Dionysus, the Eclipser?
What can we offer? We're offering to assist in the protection of the realm. Surely that is of some value.
Well,
when you say the realm, what do you refer to?
the prime
is the
material
realm?
plane.
The entire plane.
Yes, this plane of existence.
And it will be destroyed?
Suriel will
As we
bring
know
war.
it, yes.
Yes, Suriel will bring war and destruction. Nothing will survive unscathed. Almost everyone will die.
It's
But
essentially
I am
unceasing-
already at war.
Yes. But your intentions are to end the war, is it not?
Sure.
Arthur is getting so white-knuckled angry right now.
The thing is that nothing can survive a state of war forever. And that is precisely what Suriel deigns to bring about. An apocalypse of war.
An eternity of war.
Unending conflict between everyone and everything.
No victors, no losers.
Just destruction, pain,
I mean,
suffering.
Yes, victors and losers, but the thing is that they're both the same thing. Every victor will be a loser, and every loser will be a victor, and no one wins ultimately, because everyone loses, despite
Except for Suriel.
Except for Suriel, because apparently her god thing is getting off on that sort of thing. So,
And you think you can defeat Suriel?
well, the idea is more to stop her from coming through and having free reign over reality for a while.
We believe.
And how
that
would
with-
you do that?
By preventing Jalira from carrying out her plan to do so.
And how would she go about doing this plan?
By
He
getting the
leans
essences
forward.
of the dragons.
I want to do an insight check.
Make an insight check.
Why are you
That
leaning
was-
forward? Creepy
was that
evil
panic?
golden man?
That was, that Cuddly,
got
your
a
panic has
17.
triggered a thought process in my head that
17?
Yeah.
I
haven't
also
trusted
want
him
to do
since
an
we
insight,
said
but I already
years.
did one, so I don't know if I can do one again.
No, I'm gonna say that you're. So what? Okay, so Nana, what are you trying to discern? I'm gonna roll.
Why did he lean forward?
Rudy's
when
passive
he wants
insight
to know
is
her
20.
plan?
I
Like,
feel
does
like
it-
he'd be.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I want to know if he's let off anything, because right now my Cuddly's thought process is this man is totally working with Jalira already, and you're too
That's
late.
Arthur's
Like-
full-on thinking.
Yeah, like so she's like a little skeptical because he's like, why is it my problem? What if Dionysus has already made a pact? And she's like, okay, what are you trying to tell us here? So anything like along those lines, or whatever the roll would show me, really.
17. I'm gonna do some thinking around.
Me no trust
I'm looking at some.
Can Rudy also do an insight check? I feel like with a passive insight of 20, he's cottoned
Oh,
on
dang,
to something
that's-
surely as well,
Wow,
right?
that's a sexy
Yours is
insight
more
right there. That's a sexy insight right there. I'll say it.
Arthur's got a
I'm
positive
gonna
of
say
17.
no. I'm gonna say the passive insight gets you some things, but Rudy, you've already described your fear,
Yeah, he's distracted. Yeah, you know.
so
you're
you
right.
need to
Yeah.
make an active insight check because currently you have other worries taking up your mental faculty.
With the leaning forward, would that allow him
Yeah.
like trigger him to do it? Okay.
I'm gonna roll a thing.
Oh, that
here.
was so close to a natural 20 again.
Oh no! You
Ah.
got 20!
Nah, only
Ever
a
since
12.
the nat 1, we've not had the nat 20.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I wonder who,
Orb, do you want to roll an insight as well?
Yeah,
I mean,
Arthur
I'm
will.
gonna say
No.
anyone. Since there's a
He's
shift
pretty
in his
pissed off.
demeanor, I'm gonna say everyone is allowed one.
Arthur got 20.
Oh, let's go!
Well,
There you
I
go.
think the only reason that Gerald is like, what's going on, was simply because he's asking essentially the same thing over again. Is like, well, you know, it's like we just explained that what Julia's after and why she's after it, and then and now he's sort of like doubling back and re-asking the same questions, and it's a bit weird. It's like, well, I've already explained it to you. What are you, you know?
And now he's like asking for specifics, like, oh, if I were hypothetically to do this, like, what would I need to do? Like, no, sir.
Yeah, with my 0.
So yeah,
Poor Gerald.
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
You think it's weird?
Does George want to roll one as well?
if you'll let me, I'll take it.
I'm letting you. With the motivation that he did and like a notable shift in demeanor.
Yeah, and George is already suspicious of him because he's an asshole.
I will say, have you rolled yet?
I just rolled.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No one can tell. There is a shift in his demeanor,
Mm.
but it's hard to find out his motivations.
You know what?
You're
Can
making me
Can I
want to
tides of
detect
chaos
thoughts.
this?
Yeah.
What? Let's
You know, you
go.
never know. Even with a +0, I might.
I'm
you
gonna
know, I
say
might
the
get
DC
lucky.
is 23.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
you
then
won't
I
get
basically. Well, that's impossible then, because even a natural 20 wouldn't hit.
No, you do
23.
have
You
luck.
the
Dark One's own luck.
One's own luck.
Oh,
though.
that's true. It is theoretically
So,
possible.
it
Get a
is-
13?
Theoretically,
You get a 13, and then you
Okay,
can add
okay.
10, right? Right?
Well,
No, it's a-
up to it's a D10.
up to
so,
10.
Oh.
Up
So
to
it's
10.
still
Everything's
it's still
up to
a,
luck. Oh man.
Still a crap shot.
Mm.
Ah, that's a 6. It's better than a 5.
We
Okay,
love
yeah.
that for you.
Yeah,
It's
nah,
not gonna.
yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
gonna
So
do
you
it.
all, I will say that you all realize that he's leaning forward. He's curious about something in his line of questioning, but but as you said, he's doubling down. Like, why did his demeanor shift now? What does he want? What
Yeah.
is it he's trying to get out of you?
So what
it's
does
like
he- what does
he's
he
digging
say
for information.
after
Hmm.
I like essentially
But how?
repeat the same thing. I was like,
But
well,
how would she do this?
well,
He's
Yeah.
very
I said,
insistent.
she intends to gather the power of dragons,
I
or removing it from them, and using it to essentially punch a hole in reality.
And she needs all of them.
Well, that remains to be seen. I'm not sure exactly how many she needs. I don't think we have that information, do we?
no
Yet?
no.
No.
You do, technically.
I feel like it's been mentioned. I think she.
You've been told that she needs at least 4.
That's right.
Total.
Mohit told us. I think Mohit told us. Yeah.
Yeah, and
me too.
she has one, and
She has one. and
working on a
she's-
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as we're aware, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And you know
got
that
one-
there are 6 total.
And we technically have 2.
We've got 2.
We do.
So
But she's got one, and then the second in captivity. And we might be able to.
We might be able to.
We might
clinch
be
this
able
out.
to intercept that one. That was
Yeah.
that was the idea.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'll say. So I'll sort of repeat the information for him. And what is his response?
What do you say?
Oh, so
You say,
because his question was, and how would she do that, right?
yeah?
Yeah.
And no, the last question he asked was, and she needs all of them?
Not necessarily. No.
Not necessarily. And going back, based on what you've said, you've been in contact with Shams. Should I assume that you've managed to acquire his blessing?
Oh, yes, Shams is definitely one of protecting the realm, and
And you said that you have Muhit's essence.
Muhe has given us his blessings. Yes.
And that leaves 4 then.
As far
You're
as we're
as
aware,
well
yes.
informed as we are. Yes.
Yes, well, there are some things that one simply must know. But yes,
You see, you seem to know a great much. Do you happen to know anything about the Black Dragon by any chance? Because the black and gold were last seen together, as far as I'm aware.
I think this is different.
well, they were seen in conflict.
Oh, so you know about that.
Yes.
You're very well informed. I'm quite impressed. I'm glad we got to speak to you.
I thought we had already confirmed that I have connections to the Golden Dragon. It comes with its perks.
Right. Do you happen to know where what happened to Erequias?
As far as I'm aware, Dionysus last saw her plummet into the sea river between the north and west.
Oh shit, son.
But
There
that
you
was
go.
some millennia ago.
Oh, it's better than what we had. So
Do you mean that she's still alive?
Well, I mean,
no idea.
Nice.
if Dionysus is alive, and there's no reason to believe necessarily that Erequias is not.
Yeah, well, a black dragon could never compare to a golden dragon. That's just common knowledge.
Hmm.
Well,
Mhm.
I don't pretend to
Kathleen and I are on the
be an
same
authority
wavelength
of,
here.
of dragons.
Like
But-
white knuckling my desk right. the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
now.
right, yeah. But certainly quite splendid.
Hmm.
They're all beings of great. What's the word? Magnanimity.
Yeah,
They have great presence.
they do.
Nana looks
Most
doubtful.
people quake in their boots when they see such a formidable being.
Oh yes, now that we've met a couple of them, they're very, very impressive beings.
Actually, Josie, just out of curiosity,
Mhm.
Rudy hasn't encountered any difficulties since coming into this chamber, has he? Like in terms of his rebornness? No. Okay.
But I will say, make a
Ooh, that's
wisdom
good
save if you
question,
want.
actually.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Wisdom. Sorry, a wisdom save.
Wisdom save.
Wisdom save. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
13.
13.
What happened to all our good rolls?
We
I
used them.
know.
We
Oh,
used
no.
them,
We
Gouda.
used them too
I
early.
missed the 20s. I missed the look of surprise on
So-
Josie's face
so do
when we
I.
had the 30s.
That's all right.
Give 'em back.
Rudy, you are actually frightened, you realize.
No.
Like you find yourself actually
not?
afraid.
Oh no, he is. Yeah, he is. Oh, my bad. Yep.
Like you realize that you're feeling colder than usual. You're realizing that you just want to get out of here. You don't want to be here anymore. You're effectively under the frightened condition.
Right. Well, I mean, look, I suppose you probably don't want us to take up too much of your precious time. So, is there any way that you were able to assist us in making contact?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't feel like it's been enough of a tete-a-tete. Doesn't sound like you have a lot to really offer. The information you've given me, I can simply pass on. No need for a face-to-face.
Well, if that is as best as we can do, then so be it. But while we may be lesser in power than any single dragon, that doesn't mean our assistance is not invaluable.
Oh, no, I never meant like that. Of course, I've heard your escapades. Quite surprising, actually.
What have you heard?
Well, I know for a fact that you managed to find and convince Muhi to give up her essence, which you confirmed. I know that it was you who defeated the general and Fungi Majora and made it possible for my armies to clear the rest of the forest. You told me that you had met Shams, managed to persuade even the formidable Shams to join your side. This information will be curious to ponder for Dionysus, of course. But I've heard nothing that really makes me feel like you need to meet.
Well, perhaps. I think
Or are you withholding more information that you have not divulged to me?
not really. That's most of it, I believe. I mean, Roju believes. I'm pretty sure that's most of it.
With all due respect, Your Highness, and George kind of bows gritting his teeth while bowing, so the king can't see the gritted teeth, but bows nonetheless to show respect. Permission to speak.
Granted.
We are the only party that I know of that have been able to make Jalira flinch and run away from us.
Oh,
But you have not bested her.
hearing
Because
that,
she ran.
hearing that, does Rudy sort of? Is he too scared to really participate, or is he?
No, you just
Mm.
it's more you can't find yourself to get
Mm.
closer.
Okay.
It's like you don't want to be here, but you're still allowed to talk.
Yes, what Georges says is true. In fact, we're possibly the only people who have faced her directly and survived. And with this, like, you clearly have seen my condition. But I am, at this point, as far as I'm aware, the only being that has taken a hit from Jalira directly and survived completely. And with this, Rudy would reveal to his side the wound, the disintegration ray wound. So so far we are the first line of defense.
And we've only
Directly
gotten
against
stronger since.
No, immensely.
I think the main brunt of it, as I see it, is that Jalira simply doesn't care for anything, anyone, or any dragon, and will simply erase their existence to take their essence to carry out her own plans. We simply are seeking to defend those beings who don't deserve such treatment, really.
Well, Vanguard. I will bring this information to the Great Eclipser, and he will decide if it is worth his time to consider or not.
Of course.
But we do appreciate the proactivity. Now, I hope you will enjoy the festivities tomorrow.
Absolutely, yes. We thank you very much.
You're welcome. Enjoy the city.
Shall do, shall do. And yes, feel free to let Dionysus. They can contact us at any time, and to be very, very wary. She is formidable, and obviously has some way of wresting powers from dragons, despite their powers.
Yes. Chop chop.
Okay. Right. Just backing away, sort of just bowing awkwardly.
Arthur doesn't bow, he just turns.
Yep. Rudy's first out the door.
Nana, having been told by George to keep an eye out, you see as the king stands up from his throne, there is that micro flinch in his face when he sort of puts weight on his left arm.
Okay.
Let's go. Nonverbal note passing.
Let's go.
He's got tennis elbow.
Playing too much
The
tennis.
two gossips of the party.
You head back across the empty pews. You turn to the giant oak doors. They open. You see Parkany standing outside. She lets you out and then closes the door. That's where we're going to end for today.
Oh, man.
I have so many theories.
That went
I
exactly
I
have
as I
won't
so
thought it
many
was.
theories.
I have so many theories.
Yeah.
I mean, he's absolutely a dragon, right? That's absolutely
We think he probably got the injury from the black. Do we think?
I think he's one of the dragons.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's just
I
a
think he's an
little dragon.
He's Dionysus. He's totally
Because
Dionysus.
remember, he's young. Young.
Yeah,
and,
young,
yeah,
arrogant.
He's maybe
Yeah.
the one that fought the black dragon.
Yes.
He
Absolutely.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yes.
All I
Yeah.
know are that.
Or
friggin'
hear me
Without
out.
a doubt. Gerald
whole thing's been a
wouldn't
huge
even think
twist.
of it, probably,
Like,
but
Oh, pause champ.
The
Hadley?
biggest, reddest herring of them all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like, and then his.
Yeah, Lars says maybe he's just an asshole.
I was
Maybe
just
he's
gonna say
just
maybe he's just a giant asshole and he
Oh,
doesn't
I-
even know the dragon.
¿Por qué no los dos, right?
I did
Yeah.
kind of want to check for charm effects
Oh,
on
man.
him, but I don't have a way of doing it currently because I gave away my object. The object that would have kept Rudy from being feared, by the way.
Well, look, look. It's sort of like I don't think Arthur really knows what he was doing in that moment.
No.
Tempting a lot of fate there, buddy.
Oh, just the parade, the whole Arthur dying, and
Mhm.
he getting
Yeah.
the credit is really.
Well, it was kind of hinted that it's more for the people than anything else, to give the people belief that they are protected.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
this
I was about to say
this
you're
guy-
welcome, but
This
I
guy
didn't.
was acting like such a dick, though.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Arthur was like, "Yeah, all right, for the people,
Mm.
fine, whatever." And then all of a sudden, this guy
I
was
will-
like,
I
"Oh,
will
all
point
right."
out-
I'm like,
Yeah.
I will point out, you've never used this before, but Arthur has the ability to sense dragons.
yeah. To be
I
honest,
thought one
I
of
was.
us could
You
because
actually got an
No,
ability?
He's got. It's a ranger ability, primeval awareness. You expend a spell slot, and for a number of minutes
rats on this,
equal
please.
equal
rats
to
on
the
this?
spell
Why are you
slot.
using
What's
it?
the range on it, JC? What's the
A
range?
mile.
Oh
No, listen, it gets worse. Six miles
swear.
in his favorite terrain.
Hang on.
God damn
I
it.
swear to
Oh,
all
Standard of
things.
Forest is look, Arthur.
my
You guys can be pulling your hair out and all that sort of shit, but I was full on gonna wait till tomorrow at the fair
That is beautiful.
or at the thing to do that because I was going to reckon the dragon was going to turn up there.
Yeah, because Rudy told Arthur that the dragon,
Look,
a gold dragon, shows up anyway.
Brand, though.
There's
Look,
no reason not to do
there
it
is-
now.
there is a
Get long
caveat.
rest and do it
There is a
tomorrow.
caveat. It doesn't tell you how many or their location, just if they are within that range.
Okay.
Also, would it even like there's
It-
a
it
dragon
wouldn't-
and then there's like an or dragon? So
Yeah.
like, would it necessarily?
Because Rudy and Nana would have explained that there's a festival that happens, and it's the same festival that's about to happen, right?
I mean,
Jesse?
Arthur, do you want to? There's a festival. Arthur, do you want to use this as you leave the castle?
Oh, yeah.
Because Rudy and
Why don't
Nana,
we-
Rudy and Nana,
we can
because
wait. It's
we,
okay.
we explained when we first came to the Ivory Hold that this festival happens and a gold dragon flies overhead
Yeah,
So-
once a year.
once a year. So we already know that's going to happen. Why would I don't understand why
It
Arthur
could be
would
an
wait till tomorrow.
illusion. It could,
Well, yeah, but you'll have a long rest in between either
Mm.
way. So even if you can only use it once a day, use it now. We find out about the king. We rest. Use it tomorrow. We find out if it's
But
an
who's not say
illusion.
the gold dragons? Yeah, all right.
Well,
I'll
if
use that
there's
ability.
a-
Be a
if they're
projection.
not a
That's
gold
true.
dragon,
Mm.
but the gold dragon appears tomorrow, you'll get 2 pings. If they're not a dragon and it is an illusion, you'll get no pings both days.
Well, I don't
and
think
that
you
gives
get
us
the
a lot of
number, though, right?
information, no matter what.
It's just a yes or no. I think
It's just,
Joseph
is
said
there
no
dragon
numbers.
in this region? Is
Is
essentially
dragon.
Mm.
in
Is
mine.
dragon.
Is dragon?
Is
Right?
dragon?
Dragon, yes.
Is dragon?
I thought it gave you number but not location. Maybe I misheard Josie.
What?
Does it give you number but not location, or does it give you
No.
neither?
Neither.
Oh, okay, I misheard.
Just an
you.
if. Just
Right.
an if they are.
My
If
bad.
the
Like,
dragon
yeah,
equals
if
true,
if you
then-
want to use this, if equals true, and it's not just dragons, it's a bunch of creature types.
Yeah.
Oh. Would you?
Yeah.
Does he get to know what creature type it is though?
I don't think so.
Um,
Trying to find it now.
Shouldn't it just be
Like,
in
at
your
least gives them that.
feature?
advantage,
Yeah,
right?
and you get to know if there are whether any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fey fiends, or undead are present.
Yeah, cool.
But
So
you
Where
get no
going
location
with
and no
this?
number.
Come on, I'm
It's
actually...
in your it's in your class features under
Yeah, class
Ranger.
features.
You have primeval awareness.
Also, yes, I would love to hear a D&D.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Hey, thank you so much for the
There you go,
raid,
Arthur.
Beck Bubish. Hello, welcome on in, Raiders.
Arthur,
We're
you-
just wrapping up our D&D session,
Okay.
doing our
Arthur,
usual
you sense
end
the
of session
following.
wrap up.
Fiends.
How are you all doing?
Undead, elemental, and dragon.
And dragon.
I mean, it doesn't tell you the numbers.
Dragon,
You're just
yes or
sensing those
no?
creature
Yeah.
types.
Yeah.
Dragon, yes.
So wait, what
Dragon,
did we
yes.
get a yes to?
There are dragon, fey, fiend, undead within a mile.
Dragon.
I would like to
Fey,
say that one of
Fiend,
those it
Undead.
could be me, just owning up to that one. Might be me. I apologize, Arthur, for
So you
setting
finally fess up to the
that.
unjust.
I don't
Playing it
know.
for so long. And
I
you
don't
say
know.
No, and now
Wait, we will retest this, but we're in the woods by ourselves.
Yeah. Oh my
No,
God.
oh my god.
I got a
No,
couple
the one
of
we should be
Chat
focusing on is
questions, by the
Fiend.
way, if-
Yeah.
Fiend!
Let's do some. Let's do some chat questions.
Yeah, we've had that Emily girl drop in and wanted to know about starlings, because
Oh.
it's obviously not a race that they're familiar with, and wanted to know what the deal is. The answer is, of course, yes, it is a race, and it's one Josie homebrewed. If you wanted to tell them a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing, Cuddly. Spot on, but don't tell anyone.
Oh,
Oh, is the
cuddly.
secret messages? Oh my
Oh,
God.
she figured something out.
Oh my God.
Starling is a homebrew race that I made once upon a time. That I asked if Gouda wanted to play, and Gouda was like, "Fuck yeah, that sounds cool." And it's just the fact. I was like, "Hey, I have this homebrew race that no one like. I need someone to play test." And Gouda was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And the concept is that they are an offshoot of elves that lived in the Star Wilds, which is the borderlands between the Feywild and the Astral Sea. Orb, you little shit.
I see.
Oh, I love you.
Oh, also, I have ears on my model. I don't know if you can see, but I do have
Yes.
my.
Get
my
rated.
So Gouda's current model, the 3D avatar, is actually supposed to look like George. They have very pale blue skin, and they have white spots like freckles, but they look almost like constellations. They are light blind. They cannot see when there's light around, but instead they have like a sort of echolocation. They have heightened perception through their other senses. But when they are in
It's the
Well,
Something, right?
this is more like all of it at the same time. I've
Right.
explained it like Daredevil in the TV series version.
galaxy elves. Yeah, kind of. That's not a bad description.
Space elves. There's
Space
there's like my version of a space elf, but they live in a very dangerous environment. They don't grow very old. They have very tight groups, and they have the ability to detect thoughts because they need to be able to know. It's a heightened version of their senses, knowing the creatures around them. When they are in complete darkness, however, they can see, and their eyes looks almost like nebulas rather than irises. They just look like the night sky almost.
So pretty.
Which is why I have the dark blue behind my scleras.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you, the
And-
constant struggle between George not being able to see in light and Rudy not being able to see in the dark. That's been the source of
Why I
several
have
calamities.
goggles
The
now.
amount of times they blind each other or like argue about light sources.
The first time George was able to see in the party, he was like, "Thank God!" And Rudy immediately cast
Immediately
light.
cast
and
light,
realized-
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, you
So
know,
we,
you have a
we've said
darkness spell
also
yet?
yeah.
I have my goggles.
Yeah.
I almost did
so
take
you-
darkness this level.
So George did commissions a pair of goggles that makes everything's like one step darker. So bright light is dim light is darkness. So yeah, they have some minor abilities. They do have harder time doing perception outside their radius when they can't see properly. But within that radius, they have a higher perception.
yes, very cool. Also, there is a joke, which
Oh,
I found hilarious personally. Did you know that fire elementals are vulnerable to beholder eye beams and Medusa petrification? So just remember, in case of fire, use stairs.
Is now only when we killed baby beholders on accident and dead
yeah,
undead
yeah.
beholders.
Is this when we bring up the fact that you accidentally killed the 2 beholders?
Oh, we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Well,
was
they
an
were. I think
accident.
they were
Well,
called
no, they weren't
watchers.
beholders.
Watchers,
They
They
were,
were.
yeah.
They were. Something. They were like a step below beholder,
Hmm.
but yeah. You intimidated to the point where they believed they were going to die, so they died.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Emily.
Can
these
we
jokes, I
also
love it.
mention that since joining the party, the only thing / people George have killed is because of accidents?
Oh yeah, that one time you killed a
person.
child with an
It
elk
was like the teenager at least. It wasn't the small ones.
with an elk.
The ram got frightened and then bashed his
Oh
head.
god, forgot about that.
Yeah, I
But not
actually
the ribs,
forgot
it was
about
the
that.
ribs, not the head.
That's my.
They were still commoners, so they didn't really have a lot going for them as far as statistics go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they
Rudy
had a whole
definitely
life
only-
in front of
only
them,
killed people
though.
by accident as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
jeez.
for those who are new in, we should also bring up the fact that they have the BBEG on speed dial, which is
Oh,
hilarious.
Yeah, that's
Oh
We
my
do,
god,
we
we could have
do.
just called her up in front of the king and go, hey, can you tell
Is this your
how
friend?
dangerous you
you
are,
tell him?
please? Oh my gosh.
Good night, Orby. Feel free to
No.
run off.
Yeah, all
Thank you
good,
for
Orb.
having been
Thanks.
Sleep
See ya.
well.
Oh, that's
But yeah.
actually a perfect joke for that though, with Arthur running
Oh.
off, because yeah, it's what time he has to leave, 12ish, because he's an elf. It's
Ah.
Stare at you.
yes.
Yeah, for the people who have joined throughout, I've been
God,
Joe
I love
Supposer, the Dungeon Mistress. Orb, who just left, has been playing Arthur Orled the Third. We have Gouda, been playing George. We have Cuddly Raptor, who's been playing Nana. We have Roju, who's been playing Gerald the Wizard. And we have AussieDevFro playing Rudy Magic Hands McGee. Or as some call him, Junior.
Yeah.
And this time, it was not an episode of Dramonia ER.
Yeah.
But tomorrow,
That's because
there
we're on
will
the
be a
mid-season
resurrection.
hiatus. We're on the mid-season hiatus because we just did our 6th episode of it.
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah,
yep. God,
And
I
we
can't
did
believe we've
find a
done
long
6
lost
episodes.
twins, so you know what?
oh my god.
Yeah,
Soap opera
so-
in the making.
Long lost
Thank you,
twin.
Long lost
And we
twin.
met the long lost niece, and
Rudy's an
we still
uncle.
need to
The
teach tell
family
the twin about the
issues, like-
nephew.
Yeah.
The whole thing about like leaving the family to become a doctor, and then one of the family members get ill, and you have to reluctantly go help them. Or
Yeah.
we even had the point where you were at a party and someone needed medical assistance. Like we're crossing the box.
We really have, haven't we? Oh my gosh.
We need the vacation episode where we're just trying to chill, and they're like, "Is anybody here a doctor?"
Yeah, you already had that with Sin.
We were on a cruise and we died.
Oh
You
my
were on a
God.
boat, and suddenly like,
Yeah.
oh no, she's been faking that she's
That's
doing
true.
okay.
Oh,
No, that's right.
Oh
yeah.
my
We had to
gosh.
amputate.
God, gosh darn
And
it.
it was
And we-
completely unintentional that it's been like this.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Or when
removing
you
that
had, or the
fungal
hot shot, like
infection.
or like when you had to save the high, like the high nobility person,
Mhm.
like in the Arch Druid,
Mm.
when you had
Yeah.
to be like, oh
Yep.
shit.
If you
I-
count the resurrection, we've even had the
Yeah.
episode where one of the main cast members almost dies.
Mm.
That's right.
We haven't had to do surgery on them though, so we still
Mm.
need to. That box has only
No,
been
there's,
half
there's still
checked.
time. Hey, look, if
We
anyone
kind
wants
of
to
did
make
a-
a,
like-
a bingo
like a
card for this,
Delivering a
let them
baby
know.
episode.
Oh, that's true.
You know,
with
Rebjorn.
Reborn.
We've even delivered a baby. I can't believe that. Oh my
I mean,
god.
it kind of delivered itself. It came crawling out of the dirt.
I mean, I
That
was there
means
to
Kelly's
lift
the
it up.
midwife.
Congratulations! It's a
It's a bear.
bear.
Or More like congratulations, it's still a bear.
It's still
Still a bear. We've had some really good
Oh
stuff. You
my
did
gosh.
get your
Have a good
audience
time.
though.
We did.
Yeah,
did
I
get
was-
your
needed every
audience, though.
second of
I
it.
was determined.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we worked so hard across a second day to get that audience, and that's what we got?
Yeah,
Like, come
Oh
on,
my God.
like
We could get a second audience though. With
We
the
we
should.
can get
arena.
it. We can
That
just
would
come
be
back.
weird.
back and hassle them again.
Hey, we're
Yeah,
back.
no, well, it's different. You get a dinner with the king, so it's a different environment.
We are gonna win the
Oh.
arena, guys.
Oh my God, I
I'm
kinda
not
want
personally
to.
going to join the fighting.
Can we
I'm going to rig the bets.
can we just join and just say to him over dinner, we are not leaving until we get to that gosh darn audience. We will come back. I have connections.
I know people.
Do you know who I am?
I'm a
Do
bit
you know
of
who I am? Yeah,
George,
we've all got to
you don't know
get
who
that.
I am, and you don't know what I'll look like tomorrow. I could be back here anytime, and you won't know. I will keep coming back. These guys can't even get rid of me. You think you can?
Oh my god, that's too real.
Is it we can't get rid of George, or can George not get rid of us? It's
think
kind of
it's
a
a little bit
bit
of
of both. Eh?
The answer is yes. Yeah.
But yes, it is quarter to midnight again, so I better raid over to you, Josie, because I know you're gonna keep going. Is this correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. I'm gonna play some of that Celesta. We're gonna play with our
Ah.
accidentally really good party.